What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the 740 Sports Show radio debut right here on Fox Sports 105.3 FM WIPC Jackson. I'm joined by my longtime brother, Bub, my longtime friend, Rob, and we're here this morning. Well, this afternoon, boys, it's 3 p.m., and we're having an absolute time.
Yes, sir.
Right here. So let's go ahead and get right into it, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have you guys with me today.
Yeah.
And we're pretty excited for this, man. This has been a long time coming, and we're stoked.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this opportunity for a while, right, bub?
I'm just glad to have you back.
Hey, I'm glad to be
It's been,
back.
what, a year?
It is.
Over a year?
Yeah, over almost a year.
I
up
just
until
come for the
Cooper
pilots.
Strong.
Like, I come for the pilot of the original show, and then the
just the
pilot for the radio. And
Okay, Pilot Rob in the cockpit today as we're here for the pilot episode of the 740 Sports Show, and we're stoked, man. We got a lot to talk about here. We're talking hockey the first time on the show. We're talking NFL today. We're talking NBA today. We're even talking swimsuit edition, boys.
swimsuit.
Swimsuit
I
edition.
can't believe that made the cut.
It made the cut. It's at the very tail end of the show, but they said, you know what, boys,
If
you
we
got
have
3
time.
hours to fill. If we have time for the swimsuit edition, we'll make time for the swimsuit edition. Make no mistake about it. We'll squeeze it in somewhere.
You know,
I was just really hoping
Ain't
to
no
avoid
doubt,
Brittany
Rob.
Mahomes. I just can't stand talking about her.
Hey, hey, you're going to have to figure out a way to stand talking about her because we're going to, bub. We're going to. It's going to happen. So you're in for quite an episode here. We got a lot to talk about, but let's go ahead and start with what's hot right now, boys. And ain't nothing hotter than hockey.
hockey.
Hockey. We're going to kick it off with our very first segment right here. Help us love hockey. Help us love hockey. This is the first time we've really talked about hockey on the podcast or this radio show now.
Or just as friends
Or
in general.
just as people, as actual human beings.
Sports Center top 10 plays of the week, and it's
Right.
a fight
Did
or
you see
something.
that fight?
Right. Did you see the fight? Did you see the guy get blasted? Right.
Or did you see that girl lift her shirt up on the last playoff game?
Hey, we're not
Oilers.
talking about the swimsuit
I'm just saying,
edition
that's
yet.
part of hockey. Yeah.
Didn't that happen in like a baseball game a couple years ago, too?
I feel like it happens a lot, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. When you're full of alcohol as well.
2024, you throw sporting events and alcohol together, as well as Kevin Garnett said, anything's possible. So our Help Us Love Hockey segment is a segment generated, and pretty much dedicated to, we want to love hockey. There's a lot of things about hockey we should like.
Right.
Gigantic men playing a sport. Sounds awesome, right?
Love that since Gladiators.
Yeah, right? Gigantic men balancing themselves on skates.
Great point, Rob. Gladiator, yeah, the Gladiator times were definitely a great time as far as
they're
competitive
happening.
sports.
They're happening in 2024, and that's what's awesome. Gigantic men on skates, precision sports, right? Hand-eye coordination, while also you're on a thin blade of ice, and that's how you got to move. Connor McDavid's over here zooming at 24-something miles an hour.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy. And then on top of that, there's the occasional fight.
Yeah.
The occasional fight, which obviously
That's the
hockey
low-hanging
fans
fruit,
love. It is
yeah.
the low-hanging fruit. That's what hockey fans love, though. So all of that to say this, we don't actively watch or even discuss hockey.
I think that you think if we were introduced to it whenever we were younger, obviously like other sports, baseball.
So blame our parents. That's usually my go-to.
that's the go-to. Yeah.
It's usually my go-to.
Well, it just wasn't around the area, not that I'm aware of.
Right.
Yes, for the most part. But
I don't agree with Rob's stance on that one because I got into UFC late, and I'm a big fan of UFC now. So I don't think it's like the time of my life that I got into it.
okay, I see
My
your
big
point.
point is I feel like there's too many Canadian teams.
Oh, Bubba the Patriot says, hey,
No, it's just I don't know all the places in Canada.
Hey,
I
I'm
don't
sitting
know-
here
I
with
couldn't tell
two
you where
men.
Montreal's at, or Winnipeg, or
Winnipeg?
Scandinavia.
Scandinavia.
Is that all Canadian?
Scandinavia.
I couldn't tell you.
Norway, Sweden, Finland.
it's
That's
Switzerland's around the
Scandinavia.
area.
They play hockey up there, though. They
do.
They do. They play great
I'll tell
hockey.
you, the Swisses, they are some. The
Swisses.
Swisses.
We've been in this 5 minutes. We're going to get kicked off the air because Bub referred to the Swiss.
Isn't that what they're called? Swiss.
Not cheese.
The
though.
Swiss, Bub.
Swedish?
The Swiss. Not the Swedish are from Sweden. The Swiss are from Switzerland. That's your geography lesson. Back to the 740 Sports Show. This is why we can't get into hockey, because we never get to the topic. we always get ourselves off topic with stuff. This is the problem we have with hockey. Maybe it's the geographic thing. Maybe we were introduced too late. But nonetheless, guys, I told you guys last night I was going to turn on this hockey game. And I was going to watch a hockey game.
You messaged me twice to turn it on.
Did you?
No. I didn't either. But no, it's not because I just couldn't turn it on that night and watch it. It sounded interesting, though.
Yeah, clearly.
Notes
There's
look
a
amazing
2-0 lead,
here.
right?
Yeah, 2-0
okay.
lead. Florida Panthers took a 2-0 lead last night. And honestly, dude, Rob, you're going to love this. National anthem was phenomenal.
You sent me a-
The national anthem was great.
I
The
bet you were ready to go. You're ready to put on the skates after the night.
much more than our recent Cooper Strong 5K outing I was, because the camera work during the national anthem was cool. Like it started with the guys at center ice.
Okay.
And then as it kind of as the national anthem went on, it kind of panned to the crowd, and then finally it brought it back to the goalies, right? And then you had the two goalies that Bobrovsky, and then you had Skinner at the other end. Skinner flips his hair back at the end of it, and I'm like, this is it. I'm ready for hockey now. That's what I need to get. Rob, I just needed a good national anthem to get me going.
I guarantee it, and I'm sure it was phenomenal. I have no idea who those players are, and I'm not going to try to repeat the names.
Just the goalies, man. So I didn't know any players going into these games last night, which was also cool.
Yeah.
Because again, we love sports.
Right.
And we really don't have a reason, truthfully, to not like hockey, right? Like we just don't watch it. It just doesn't fall in line with the things that we watch for some reason.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is I don't know the rules. I don't know why they
Me
what
either.
They do.
kind of like
So,
soccer. It's
yeah,
just too much like
the same way,
soccer as
yeah.
well. Like it's
Okay.
going back and forth. But I will say the most impressive thing about hockey, back to the precision sports, is the cameramen. How much do you think they get paid? Because they
Okay.
are zooming across that
Okay.
TV, and it is awesome.
I'll tell you what, because obviously being on the production side of things with our day jobs, right? Total media, being on that side of things, I kind of do pay attention to that stuff, and it's so intricate, man. Like it's such great work overall. Yeah. And I will say, I think a really big invention for hockey, or not invention, but thing that helped them was 1080p, 4K, things like that, because now
Yeah.
you can see the puck, right?
Right,
Now you can
right.
see
No,
things
I can't.
moving. And trust me,
I can't
Bub,
follow that
I
thing.
promise you, last night, watch that game, YouTube TV, crystal clear, beautiful. I could see the puck moving. I could see it like coming still on the ice at times. It was great. That helped me so much. Yeah, like when they knock it down and then try to, go into what they're doing. Loved it. I was enthralled. Florida was down at the end of the first period, down 1-0.
Okay.
Down 1-0. They were ahead like 6 shots on goal and none, right? And the other thing, you mentioned soccer. 5 dudes on the ice, aside from the goalies.
Yeah, I do like the rotating substitutions too.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never stops,
5 dudes on the ice. Like, so that's super cool, because it's not soccer where you got 10, 11 dudes on the field running, or females, for
Yeah,
that.
soccer just feels overscaled for what hockey is, right? Like
Right,
hockey's this,
right. It's
kinda
much more
compact-
condensed.
Yeah, more compact and dense, and I think that's another thing. Like that's why I would be more drawn to hockey, as I don't have to, crank my neck all the way 90 degrees to see a ball go across.
Well,
the
you
field.
say that, but every 4 years we will always turn on the World Cup.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Every year.
I'm a soccer fan through and
Of
through,
course,
and
Rob
that-
stands for the whole game. He's such a patriot, bro. He stands for the
Hey,
whole game, dude.
Got to, yeah.
He
USA.
doesn't put his hat on until it's
Doesn't put
over.
his hat on till both teams are off the field safely. If someone gets hurt, he takes a knee.
I'm in the middle of the living room on my
Yeah,
knee,
yeah, man. I mean, it's so Rob
picking up the chips from what I just ate.
Rob really gets into World Cup soccer. So like obviously every 4 years we'll dive into that, no problem. But we can't turn on the Stanley Cup Finals, 5 games, 7 games, and
Do
just
we have a dog in a fight? I mean,
We do, because this year it's the Edmonton Oilers, Bob, them Canadians you were talking. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a team from Canada, and if we're watching
I didn't
golf,
realize Edmonton was
Hockey
in
team
Canada.
from Florida.
well, growing up watching golf, we always rooted for the American golfer if
Yeah,
Tiger wasn't in, just
UFC, I'm
because you
working-
kind of
I'm
root for
work-
your country,
Yeah,
right.
And then NASCAR, never Jeff Gordon.
Right. In NASCAR, it was never Jeff
Never
Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
Ever. Ever. So you got the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Florida represents everything America does. Crazy stuff all the time. Parties.
I don't know if that's the state we want to.
That's the state I'm
represent
taking to
our
represent
country.
me against Canada.
I'm taking like Texas,
Texas is cool.
Ohio. We're right on the border. I mean, we could kind of.
Not in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, though. You see, I've only got 2 options here. So, yeah, so it's
Texas,
the
yeah, they've
Canadians.
never seen ice in their
Who would you
life.
rather defend your freedom, bub? The Canadians or Florida?
I'm gonna take the people up 2-0.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Give me the Florida all day long, all day long. Give me the Panthers, and it was good hockey, man. It really was. It was a lot of fun. Panthers did take a 2-0 lead. I mentioned 7 shots on goal to 0 early on, and then, dude, out of nowhere, homie from Edmonton just smothers one. Had like half the net to work with. Got it in there, and I'm like, okay. The underdog maybe fighting their way back, but that was the only goal on the night. The goalie from Florida,
Yeah.
Bobrovsky.
If they're not saying
Total
Bob
stud.
Rosky as his
Bob
nickname,
Rosky.
they're missing it, right? Like Bob Rosky is the perfect nickname for that man.
It is, yeah.
That actually sounds correct too. So I'm gonna roll with it.
I'm just like Bob Rosky.
Yeah, that sounds way easier than what I've been trying to do over
And
here.
another point with the hockey thing that people don't really understand, and I don't either, but those nets are so small. Those nets are so small. And they got a huge man in front of it.
Gigantic dude.
When we're talking precision, things like that, you got to fit a puck through like the slightest little crevice
I know.
to make a goal.
And that's what's so exciting to me. Like, and soccer's the exact opposite, bro. We're going to
goal.
stretch out the field
One little man in the middle of it.
We're going to put one dude in front of this gigantic goal
Yep.
that you could easily back a truck through.
It takes
Right.
20 years to get there, though.
But I mean, no discredit to like goalies in soccer, freaks,
Yeah.
athletes.
Those penalty kicks, oh my gosh.
But that said, the guys like hockey, dude, so much fun. I had a blast.
This I just came up with this question I thought of for you two. What are you more precise with? Would you be more precise kicking a ball or hitting a hockey puck with a stick?
Ball, kicking a ball,
Kicking a
100%.
ball? You think you could hit the spot a lot better than slap
I mean, we
shot?
played golf together. I'm going to go with soccer as well.
Wow.
My golf game is not there. I'm
What
kicking
about
a
you,
ball.
Rob?
I feel
Anything
like
where
this-
Rob's on one foot seems suspect to me.
I mean, they're only so big as it is. So when you take one of them away,
Yeah.
Body, like physiologically, I think soccer is going to be a little more difficult than like your golf swing. You got a good golf swing.
yeah.
I just feel like
Really?
if I see Rob kicking a ball, he's
I've
like
never
the person
seen
that,
that.
like kicks himself in the forehead.
My legs won't make
Bro,
it.
you might be able to, if you could get your foot above your kneecap.
Hamstrings won't let me.
Okay.
Last time we did, they just rolled an ankle at the pool.
Oh man, that was a tough time. I remember that
still
one.
hurts.
That was tough. Going back to hockey and the goalies, shout out to Sam from Rocket Power, by the way. Going back
reference.
to, you like that?
Yeah, Woogie Woogie.
We like that. Kirk Cousins. 2-0 lead. It was fun. You mentioned those guys are super precise. They got to squeeze a gigantic, they got to squeeze a small puck by a gigantic guy in a tiny net, right? You got fat guy in a little net syndrome, and it's awesome to watch when a goal actually occurs.
Yeah.
Like these guys took 26 shots last night, scored 5 times. So like you got to think 1 out of every 5 or 6 shots is going in. That's not horrible. Now
No.
one was an empty netter late. I'll give it that. But 2 third period goals by the Panthers. I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying this. It's competitive. It's fun.
Yeah.
And everything that happens is important to some degree because early ejection on a tripping penalty, and I'm like, okay, I just learned what tripping is.
Like an ejection, or just
Ejection,
head to the
dude got
penalty box?
tossed.
Are you kidding me?
Dude,
But you
Bub,
can, you
no,
can throw
no,
hands.
You can throw hands.
Guy
Dirty
was
play.
reaching out, dirty play, hyperextended. I mean, it was a nasty play.
Could've
Dude,
caused injury.
did cause an injury. Dude
the
deserved
blades
to be
alone
tossed.
with your ice skate. I mean, showing like that too.
Unfortunately, the captain for the Panthers, don't remember his name, probably couldn't pronounce it if I could. I'm going to get better with the names. We all will.
Well,
Rob
after the
will
Stanley
eventually
Cup, we
start
won't have
going
to-
by Robert.
We won't have to worry about it after the Stanley Cup for at least another.
Yeah, we got
like
time.
tennis.
Yeah. So between here and next winter, we're going to try and learn Russian and all the other fun games. But going back on what we were talking about though, like there was just a lot to be excited about in this game. Like everything that happened seems interesting. The captain for the Panthers was knocked out of the game late in the third period.
Is he the goalie?
No, it was not the
I
goalie.
just feel like that should be the captain. I mean, that's the wall you need as a
Hey.
captain.
So the captain's
Like the quarterback in football. Like you got
catcher
the
in
quarterback.
baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob's just naming positions
He
he
is.
played. Like he was a catcher, right field
Positions
for
on the
sure,
back
right,
row.
guys? He's the horse.
Nose guard. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, a lot of captains are long snappers.
I think one of the coolest things like you could do though to get into hockey is watch Shoresy. Now, if you haven't seen Shoresy, it is about it's
not
like
either.
small town people of like Canadians, and they just love hockey. And the biggest thing like I'm interested in about hockey is like the chirping between each other and the banter.
Love it.
Because if you watch that show, man, it makes me want to go to a game.
Okay.
Which is probably a lot more personal because, like you said, it's 5v5, so you
Right.
know
Yeah.
everybody that's on the
Oh,
other side.
And they just, I mean, the way they portray it and everything is so comical, and
Yeah.
it is a great show. And the season 3 actually releases the 21st of this month, so I'm super hyped for that.
I love that. Season 3.
Season 3.
Shoresy.
And their captain actually does cry during the national anthem.
Okay, so
See,
he's a lot
so
like
It,
Rob.
it's waterworks every time.
So Rob maybe is a
I'm
captain by
telling maybe it's a
trade.
thing.
Maybe it is.
I mean, they definitely share their own patriotism up there in Canada too.
Yeah,
It's
speaking
just
of
they
which,
got like 8 different like flags to
Fly.
right? Like, is there like doesn't Canada have like multiple flags?
I don't believe so. It's just one, the one with the maple leaf, right?
Yeah.
Could have been.
Now we're going down my road with the syrup.
Yeah, Rob's in now.
Oh,
Rob
the
heard syrup
syrup.
and pop. His ears kind of perked up there.
Oh my gosh.
So Shoresy, if you want to get into a game, but we live in Jackson, shortly outside of Athens here, and 740. I'm told Ohio Bobcat hockey, college hockey, is phenomenal hockey to watch. I guess they got a club team that's pretty good, or maybe it's a real team. But I'm told it's phenomenal. The atmosphere is great. I would love for that to be the first play for us. That or
I'd be down to
something
go-
like that.
go
I'd love
catch
to
a
get to some
game, yeah, for
Bobcats
sure.
hockey, man. That'd be sick.
Be cool.
But anyway, intense game. We saw ejections, things like that. Edmonton scored early. The stud goalie for the Panthers kind of shut things down after that. And then Connor McDavid was probably the most impressive dude to me. I got to watch all night. I had heard that name before. Guys, I'm as blind in hockey as you can be. I promise you I am. I couldn't have pointed this guy out if I passed him. Yeah. And Connor McDavid was a brilliant skater, like phenomenal on skates. Like I said, the guy at some point in the playoffs has been on skates moving at 24.8 miles an hour or something,
Jeez.
which is cooking. Like,
I used to do that back at the rolling rink.
No, you didn't.
I mean, it was probably close.
it was like maybe 8.
it felt like 27.
there were probably people pushing Rob 25 miles an hour.
I mean, I bet you he dominated the limbo challenge for the longest year.
Yeah, by the way, Rob, you can go ahead and have a seat if you want.
I didn't have to duck for the first 3 rounds of limbo, so that was
That was always a kind of
got in
bonus.
the way. Trust me, I was right there.
Hey, we're going to take just a quick break. You're listening to the 740 Sports Show right here on Fox Sports 105.3 FM WYPC Jackson.
I see safe because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
Native American children. Many live in poverty and face some very tough days. But they also have great days. And the days they love most, they happen here at St. Joseph's Indian School.
I love learning with my friends, playing music,
Lunchtime!
math. And speaking of math, here are some awesome numbers.
96% of St. Joseph's Indian School students graduate high school. That's 10% higher than the national average. For almost 100 years, St. Joe's has been giving Native American children days they love and educating them for life. Learn more at stjo.org today.
Take a look at your local weather conditions brought to you today by Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks, where spring weather means hot deals at Carmen's. Check out the 2019 Chevy Malibu LT. It's loaded with low mileage and it's only $17,995 at Carmen in Jackson. We're expecting another day full of sunshine with near perfect conditions, highs in the mid-70s all day. Tonight, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be down around 52. For your midweek Wednesday, sunshine, a little bit warmer, highs in the low 80s all day. Clear skies tomorrow night with overnight lows for your Wednesday, dropping down to around 56.
And we're back. Welcome back to this episode of the 7-4 Sports Show, Fox Sports 105.3, WYPC Jackson. And we have just, well, we've had a great time so far. We've been having a great time talking hockey. And Bub, Rob, welcome back. And let's get on with it. Another
Yeah,
winter.
I'm just glad hockey's over. I've had enough for the week on the hockey.
Listen, I don't know. I'm ready to talk more hockey.
I mean, hockey was a great time.
It was.
I personally loved the hockey. I'm looking forward to Game 3. This is going into Canada, Bub.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
When is Game 3?
I'm not sure on Game 3, if you want me to be honest with you. I meant to add that to the notes. Rob, you go ahead and look that up for us.
Well, you guys.
And get us going here. We're looking forward to Game 3, though, in the NBA Finals, Bub, as the Celtics have a 2-0 lead over the Mavs right now. That's been a pretty interesting series. Game 2 went the way a lot of other people thought it would. We had a fan vote on our 740 Sports Show page, and 76% of the fans voted that they thought the Mavs would take that one, and the Celtics would drop Game 2 at home. They didn't. They won that game by a score of, what was it, 105-98?
Yes.
Yeah, 105-98. And on top of, you you survived a Luka surge.
Yeah, starting off hot.
And you got the win at home. I know, Bub, you're really excited to talk some NBA, so the floor is yours for just a moment, man.
I think the biggest note out of these first 2 games that the Celtics and Mavs had is Dallas hasn't scored over 100 points in either game.
Yeah.
And I think coming into the series, everybody thought the Mavericks offense was going to be too much for the Celtics team overall because, I mean, the Celtics have a great defense. Let's just say what it is. They have a great defense.
Yeah, they're top
Their guys
notch.
get to their spots, and they make it hard for Luka to do anything.
Right.
I mean, they're limiting his passing lanes.
Well, the Porzingis and these guys in the middle that have been clogging up that lob for Dallas. Forget the lob. The lob is non-existent
when
for Dallas.
Porzingis is in, I mean, that's a big part of their offense, too. Like,
Yeah.
Lively and Gafford have just been non-existent this series.
Yeah, well, we talked about this a little bit off the air earlier, Bub. Porzingis gets to the elbow, it's game over. There's no one who can defend Kristaps Porzingis when he gets to the elbow.
Especially when you put Jared Hardy on him out of all
Jared
people.
Hardy.
Like, that's not...
I don't understand.
And I
that
understand
one
you're going to
either.
get like some bad switches and everything, but that's just not the guy you ever want to be guarding him. Every time he guards him, he draws a foul.
Right. Yeah.
So I think Porzingis just being in the series alone is just a big factor. I don't think Dallas really prepared for it.
He's the first guy in NBA Finals history to go 30 days without playing and then in game 1 put up 15 points in the NBA Finals or more. And he put up 20 off the bench.
Yeah.
And we talked about that too. He was going to be an X factor in this whole series, man. And if he was going to be healthy at any point in any capacity, he's going to cause real big problems for Dallas. And he's done exactly that on the offensive and the defensive end.
And if you're Luka, how does that make you feel? Because you had him on
My
your team.
gosh,
like
man.
you
He
had
was your
Porzingis.
dude.
He was
Right,
supposed to be the guy that you and him.
That is an element that I've not heard discussed or even talked about anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Like if I'm Luka, I'm
Wow.
like, not
You gotta
only
be
does he
sick to your
leave my
stomach.
team, he goes to the Celtics, and now he's going to come back into the series that we're playing in, and he might potentially sweep us
Been dominating.
and be the MVP.
Do you think? Hang on, let's talk about it. You said might sweep. Is that going to happen?
I can't imagine that happens, right?
The fan that told Luka it was going to happen said it was going to happen.
Yeah, that video you showed.
Did you see that, Rob?
I don't think I
A
got
little kid took his picture with Luka before a game, right? You heard how excited I was with my family to go to a Cleveland Charlotte game, right?
Yeah.
Little kid gets his opportunity to take a photo with Luka Doncic
Once in a
before the
lifetime.
game, right? Celtics fan in the Garden, Luka signing stuff, actually kind of leans over, right? Gives him the pose. Hey, let's do this. I'm in. He says, "Hey, thanks, bro. Thanks so much." And then he says, it's still Celtics in 4, though. Still Celtics in 4. That's how you get to game 2. And,
tough.
hey, Luka held up his end of the deal. 32, 11, 11,
Yeah.
triple-double in the Garden. Luka's banged up. Like, Luka's hurt.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he's
not 100%. He's having a real hard time off the dribble, turning around, shooting from everywhere. He looks great with the ball in his hands, but he's having a hard time off the dribble.
Yeah.
He did his part, though, in Boston, as far as I'm concerned. Kyrie Irving has been non-existent.
I was going to say, you said something about non-existent earlier, and I was going to say what was non-existent was Kyrie's three-point shooting.
Yeah, what do you got to say about that?
Owen?
Kyrie.
0-8.
I'll
He's
tell you,
0
the
for 8 to
Celtics,
start the NBA
Crazy
Finals.
for
Since
Kyrie Irving.
since he left the Celtics, he hasn't beaten them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be something.
And Boston
mental.
hates the guy. Boston can't stand him.
And he's supposed to be Robin, right? To Batman.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, right now he's robbing Dallas of a chance to win an NBA championship.
I mean, I'm glad you
robbing
said
him
that.
of a win of a game.
Right.
At the moment.
Right.
I mean, he brought up Robin. My game team notes were Kyrie needs to be the Robin again.
talked about
and
it.
he just didn't show up.
Again, man, in game
6
2.
for 19.
6 for 19 in game 2 and just rough outing. No,
Free
game
throw
2
shooting as
7.
well.
Game 2 he's 7 for 18, wasn't he? Game 2 7 for 18, I thought.
I don't know. It says,
16
oh, yeah, 7
points.
for 18. You're right. Yes.
16 points in game 2. Which was a little bit better, but 0 from 3, you're not getting the assists. He did have 6 assists in game 2. I'll give him that to some degree, but I can't hand you 6 assists on transitions and other people.
And I mean, as much as they are clogging the lane and not letting Luka, drive and hit those floaters and things like that, you've got to hit one of those threes, man.
Well, the problem is Kyrie's getting there.
Yeah.
He's getting to the rim.
Yeah, Kyrie and Luka are the guys that gets to the rim. You
Right.
got to have PJ Washington step up. I mean, he's not really your sharpshooter or anything,
Right.
but he's got to be able to make him stay committed to it.
I don't know if you can rely on Luka to be the guy that gets to the rim the rest of the series, though. Luka's hurt. Like, something's going on with Luka. I think it's a little... the guy's limping back every offensive, defensive series.
Yeah.
And to their suit, they do play a slow style of offense. That helps.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's putting up 32. I'm not saying he's not being efficient. He's missing free throws. He's doing very not Luka-like things, which
Right.
tells me
It's not to the
something's
point
not
where
right.
it's not to the point where you'd be like, okay, well, he can't help our team because he's obviously still helping the team, but it's like, it's not him. Like, it's not the guy still.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's still not all there.
right.
And I think that's a big part of why they're struggling. But again, Kyrie is a big factor, and they just don't have any help. Like, Max Kleber, can we just get him off the court?
Yeah,
If I'm a Mavs fan, I'm going crazy. I would just be like, you've been out all season.
yeah.
They play the injury factor of it as like of his shooting a lot, and it's like he's not being efficient enough shooting. He's not big enough body. Like I don't see the need for him to be in there right now.
Right.
But let's just give credit to the Celtics where it's due.
Let's do that because Drew Holiday in game 2, 26 points,
Yeah.
11 assists, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. Like it doesn't get much better than that from a production standpoint for Drew Holiday. Of course, they brought up the graphic on the screen that the Celtics were whatever and 1 when he scores 14 points. I think it was like 16-1 or 17-1.
I love those stats because it's usually like on a Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Yeah, like
well, rest assured, if Drew Holiday's getting buckets, you're in for a long night.
Right.
And he brought it, dude. I mean, just everything. It felt like every rebound was going his way. It felt like he was bringing it too, man. I mean, he was getting to the paint. He was cooking inside. I mean, Drew Holiday, and defensively always does it.
Yeah, everybody knows he's a defensive kind of
Right.
guru, and he has been in the league for a long time now. He's getting to that veteran. You know, he's a veteran status guy, and he's still clamping people up, like clamping Kyrie up.
Yeah.
That being said, Sam Hauser has also been doing that a little bit, which I have not been impressed with Kyrie on. But
Let's talk about something else. You mentioned Sam Hauser.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about something else because we talked about Sam Hauser after game 1. We talked about something else kind of through text the other night as this game was going on, bub. Boston got a lot of calls in game 2.
yeah, that was a big thing too. Like at the end
This
of the
was
game,
only a 7-point game at the end of the night, guys.
well, at the end of the game, I mean,
And it was
PJ Washington
closely.
was coming down to get a dunk on Derek White and Jaylen Brown.
That
That
was
cut
the
the
big
game
one.
into 3 points, and he gets a little elbow to the back from Jaylen. Derek White gets up, tips it. Jaylen tips it.
Yeah, it was a full
Obviously
extension.
goes the Celtics' way.
Yeah.
That was a bang bang played. Ended up, I think the Celtics came down, scored 7-point game instead of a 3-point game.
Right.
That took all the sales out of the
was it.
Mavs.
They have been letting them play a little bit more and not calling
Are you a
us.
Celtics fan?
No, I'm just asking. I assume that's what I've seen that they've been.
It was
letting
very
NBA
inconsistent game
games.
too. Is
Okay.
what I felt like, and I think the Mavs will maybe have a makeup game like that.
Right.
The free throw shooting on the Mavs was atrocious in the first half too.
Terrible.
Like they could have
Luka
pulled
missed
away
3
from
or
that
4.
game.
Yes.
That's what I thought was the biggest missed opportunity. Was you could have pulled away in that first half with free throw shooting, and Luka was off, Kyrie was off.
Yeah.
I think PJ Washington missed one of 2.
Yeah.
Do you think that their final series was the last game they played? Do you think they're still on that high of their last series? They
Beating Minnesota.
I don't know if I'd call
'Cause
it
it wasn't
high as
supposed to
much
be,
of
I
just
mean,
like
right?
you're drained.
You
Like,
almost
had a
you
gauntlet
almost
to go
just
through.
survived the West, and
True,
then
yeah,
Boston's getting what's left of.
Right.
I mean, and I told Bubba,
Yeah, we talked about that too.
we talked about this too. We just talk too much, dude. But we talked about the Celtics. No, I don't want to discredit a championship, right?
Right.
Because I hated that when the Lakers did it and everyone discredited it because it was the bubble. That might be the most fair set of circumstances ever, and for some reason, it gets discredited as the most outlandish set of circumstances ever. So I don't ever want to discredit a championship in today's age because it's so tough. I mean, we've seen, LeBron got to 6 straight finals or 8 straight finals in the East, and then since he's left, no one's been to back-to-back finals.
Yeah.
So like this, it's tough to even get there, let alone do it. So I don't want to discredit it. But Boston's route to get this done, if they actually get it done, a Mavs squad without Doncic to some degree, not without him, but he's been banged up, right? He's not fully healthy.
Yeah, 32 still 32.
32 is 32, but the way he's doing it is not as efficient
Yeah.
or effective for his own team. He's not moving as much. He's not dribbling as much and creating for his own guys. He's trying, he is, but
Yeah.
he's not as much of a threat to
Yeah.
the Celtics
Yeah.
as he would be if he was healthy. So I got to at least mention that. Kyrie Irving, minus 22 when he's on the floor.
Yeah, when he's on the floor.
Minus 22.
Yeah, that's a bad stat to have because, I mean, you never really look at Kyrie and be like, oh, he's going to lock somebody up defensively. But throughout the playoffs, he has performed, moderately well as a defensive player.
Right.
And I think that was something that kind of got them through these series as well.
Right.
But when you're minus 22 on the floor, I mean, I would love to see what that is in comparison to Max Kleber.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, that is, I feel like that would be the same.
Yeah, we'll look that up at some
same
point.
comparison.
I'd love to get that stat.
And you don't want to be compared with Max Kleber
But-
or Kyrie Irving.
Okay, so Kyrie's going minus 22. You got a banged up Luka. To get there, you had Halliburton-less Pacers.
Yeah, the
to
last
some
two games of the
degree,
series.
right? The last 2 games of the series. So I'm not saying it's much less challenging route than the Mavs had.
They had a
right?
much
Like,
more fortunate route.
I'm not trying to
right?
discredit the Celtics completely, but I mean, let's not pretend this is going to end up being one of the greatest championships in NBA history.
You can still be realistic and say their path was a little more fortunate. I mean, yes, you
Call a
had Halliburton.
cakewalk what a cakewalk is, you know.
Well, you had.
Well, hang on. We'll let Rob call a cakewalk a cakewalk. Rob, you go ahead. Is it a cakewalk, Rob?
It's sounding like a cake.
Rob would know a cakewalk if anyone.
But the Tyrese Halliburton out for the last 2 games. Obviously, that was the Pacers' home games as well. So that was very. That's what I'm saying. The fortunate part of it is that they didn't have to play Halliburton twice at home,
Right.
And before he got hurt, so they have had very good luck. And I mean, it is translating into this series becoming dominated by the Celtics. And the game, is it tomorrow night?
It's tomorrow night
Tomorrow
at 8:30 p.m. And is this series over? I guess is the question.
I don't think so, and here's why. I think Luka, like I said, I'm still waiting on that one Luka just 40-point game.
Yeah.
Not
and I think
happening.
at Mavericks, that fan base is crazy. I love watching the Mavericks playoff games at home. It's up there with the Thunder to me. And I just think Luka's going to have a game where he shines. Kyrie's got to do something. Like, there's got to be one game where Kyrie just doesn't.
Kyrie has to pop. I don't think we can rely on Luka to go for 40.
And then you've got to figure out how to
It's
get
not gonna
Lively
happen.
involved. Get Lively involved. I don't know how. I'm not a
How's he been involved all year? That lob, man.
That lob. And, I mean, you're just going to have to take advantage of that when Porzingis is out.
But the problem is Luka isn't as big of a threat with the drive right now, and that's been what's killing that offense. So I agree with you. It's got to happen. But Luka, without that drive, the Celtics aren't concerned about Luka Doncic driving to the rim right now at all. I can't think that they are.
I'd still be happy if Luka if he drives and still gets a post-up turnaround. I mean, he's been very efficient at hitting those. Like, I would be satisfied if Luka gets. Because
he's able to do that catching and shooting right now. That's all he's done is
Yeah,
catch and shoot,
but I mean-
post up, and then post up from 15 feet away, and then turn around jumper, and it goes. It's great, but it's not making his offense. It's making one guy work harder.
I don't know if he's that hurt. Like, I don't know if he's to the point where he can't drive.
It's probably one of those, let's make it a series thing from here on out, kind of, you know what I mean? They're down 2-0, but
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a little like pride. You got to take pride and not get swept. But I mean, I don't think the Mavs are getting swept. I think they still got a chance in this series.
Rob.
I mean, it is entertainment, so I'm assuming, hey, let's extend this a little bit. Let's get our money's worth, from the TV networks and whatnot, and getting that going. So
All right.
I'm going to say Mavs. I think they're going to come back and win the series.
Rob.
Or Mavs and six.
That's
so.
outlandish.
I mean, I just
I
think
stick to my guns.
I think Luka overall, he's gonna show you that he's him. Right now in the state of the NBA, he's him. He's gonna.
Right now, he's showing me he's hurt.
He's hurt.
He's
and you did say he's not going to get 40. So if someone can clip that, so we
Yeah.
can play that later whenever he does get 40.
Yeah.
Just because you don't ever really get proved wrong a lot of times. So
I mean, I have no problem getting the recording of that.
okay, but I'll say this: if he gets 40 and they lose by 15, you can keep your 40.
Right.
Like-
Yeah, I get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna make it fit our narrative.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. If Luka gets 40, it's not helping his team any because he's just not that guy right now.
They're
He's
40
just.
points closer to winning.
You guys say to me it is as obvious as when Cam Newton had a shoulder injury that Luka Doncic is hurt.
Now you're saying Cam Newton was elite. That's
Cam Newton was an MVP. What are you talking about?
two different breeds.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
there's
bro.
no way you can.
When was
I mean,
Luka's
Cam
Luka's
Newton was an elite
MVP year?
quarterback. He won.
What was
Heisman. He
Luka's
was-
MVP year? He hasn't had one yet, dog.
but
Cam Newton was an MVP of the national champion or of the NFL, and he's a national champion and a Heisman Trophy winner.
And he's out of the league.
He's retired. What are you talking about?
He
is-
retired at what?
This is ridiculous. He retired an MVP. And the last time the Carolina Panthers were relevant, which we'll get to in just a moment, by the way, the Carolina Panthers
good segue.
are going to be the first
Good
team on our. Thank you, Bub. I appreciate that. I don't hear that from Bub very
I
often.
liked that one.
We're going to take just a quick break. You're listening to the 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports 105.3 WYPC Jackson.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Transitioning from being a Marine to a civilian was very hard. I lost my purpose. I lost the drive that I had. That is a very dark and lonely place to be. It took me surrendering to myself to get the help that I needed. At my very first Wounded Warrior Project event, I met Ray Pizarro. He told me, you need to have the courage to forgive yourself for the things you've done in the past. I got it tattooed on my hand. One night, my depression kept telling me, you can end this. And just before I was about to pull the trigger, I looked down at my hand, and that's what saved my life that night. That was the beginning of my incredible journey with the Wounded Warrior Project.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
When you take a walk around your neighborhood and notice all the things that make it feel like home, like all the houses lined neatly together in a row, or your neighbor, Miss Rita, who always waves at you when you drive down the street, or that movie theater in the strip mall that might look a little worn down, but has the best popcorn you've ever tasted. One thing might be a little harder to notice, because somewhere tucked in that neat row of houses is hunger. It could be your next door neighbor, or your coworker, or your daughter's friend from school, because over 30 million Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. Hunger lives in neighborhoods all around us, but it doesn't have to. Together, we can provide 1 billion meals by 2030, because everyone should be welcome at the table. Learn more at nourishingneighbors.com. Let's break the cycle of hunger together.
We are having a pretty great time here, Bub. You might want to fix those shades here. Those are going to fall off 100%.
Are they really? Okay.
And of course, Rob, your shades are fine.
Beautiful.
Your shades are
Put
fine.
him upside down. He's got a different style to it.
They fit. I've noticed they fit on your bill of your hat.
Yeah.
A lot better off the top.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then you can just pull them down. Like,
Yeah, dude, that's perfect.
It doesn't seem efficient,
Hey,
but I like the way it holds them.
It's a baseball thing. He wouldn't understand. Speaking of baseball, if you're watching the live stream of the debut, the pilot for the 7-4 Sports Show on the Main Street TV, see that? Another good segue.
Yeah,
Bob.
you're just on it today.
If you are watching this, comment 740 Paints for a chance to win. We're going to be giving away tickets, 4 tickets to the Chillicothe Paints this Thursday, 7:05, as they take on the Champion City Kings. Again, comment 740 Paints right here on Main Street TV if you are tuning into the broadcast. If not, get over to Facebook, Main Street TV, and check it out. Win free Paints tickets. That's going to be a great time. But for now, we're back to the NFL, boys and girls. Panthers owner David Tepper. Bub, he's got a proposal for the people of Charlotte. Have you seen the proposal?
I have. And
okay. Not a good one. $800 million stadium renovation he's proposing to keep the team in Charlotte for the next 20 years, Rob. 2 decades.
He's got to be loaded because I'm going to be honest, after the last couple of seasons, I wasn't even sure the Panthers were going to be in the league.
Yeah, I thought they were like the team that gets replaced out.
Yeah, right.
Like for a team for Edmonton comes in, right? He finally get their Canadian team in the NFL.
He is loaded. He is definitely loaded. He has a net worth of about $20 billion. That's a billion with a B for Bub. Yeah. But the money's not for Bub. It's for David Tepper. And he's going to keep it for David Tepper by the sounds of it, because he is proposing that taxpayers chip in a modest $650 million, while Tepper chips in his own $150 million of this $800 million stadium renovation. It would be pretty much a full stadium renovation. Everything from bathrooms to expanded team zones and all kinds of stuff. Concessions, you name it, scoreboards, access ways, new seats, you name it. It is a complete makeover of Bank of America Stadium, which opened, I believe, in 1996. Full makeover, but Charlotte, the fans there aren't too happy.
Probably because it's not a makeover of their team.
I would. I mean, hey,
I don't think all the makeover helps a winning season.
That's what they drafted Bryce Young for.
The nerve of that man to ask the citizens to pay for new facilities.
I knew this was going to trigger Bubba, so let's hear it, Bub.
When they haven't done anything since he's taken over, he has shipped CMC, DJ Moore.
Yeah.
They have no quarterback situation. They took Bryce Young over CJ Stroud,
who was the rookie of the year,
which is the biggest roster change of them all.
Bub circled something. What'd you circle?
The roster. Oh, just that alone is just ridiculous. Taking Bryce Young over CJ Stroud.
Is CJ Stroud doing better than Bryce?
Yeah, I think just offensive rookie of the year.
He didn't in college, right. And that's why he picked him, right?
Oh,
the look of disgust on Bub's face.
And here's the other thing. This is a personal one. For
this one hit Bub in the heart.
They took Von Bell from us.
They did,
and then they sent him back to us. But they wasted 1 year of his career, or 2 years maybe.
Bell.
I think it was only 1 year.
Yeah.
They took 1 year of his career time away from Cincinnati to be on that just dog water of a team.
Yeah.
And now he's back with Cincinnati. Thankfully,
thankfully Cincinnati had a great year last year.
Well, I can tell you, they've got a better quarterback situation coming in. I would take Jake Browning over Bryce Young.
That's fair.
They've got two better quarterbacks on that team.
That's fair. Well, they're going to have a nicer
But
stadium.
no, I think it's ridiculous. I think if you're the owner of that team, put your money where your mouth is. Bet on yourself. Don't have the fans bet on for you.
You know, that brings me to the point of it doesn't make your team better. Didn't Cincinnati just get an actual indoor practice facility?
It's not even it's an inflatable one.
It's an inflatable one?
But it was a bouncy
house,
right?
Cincinnati got a bouncy house.
Which actually, I believe they did. I believe Cincinnati did the same thing for that. They asked the taxpayers.
What, missed the playoffs?
And they said we'll give you an inflatable.
I don't know why you guys are acting like your teams have gone to the Super Bowl in the last 10
Mine
years.
made the playoffs. Rob, did yours make the playoffs?
Yeah,
we're going to rank
our
our
teams
teams
in the last 10 years.
We're going to rank our teams actually here in just
we
a
got
little
that.
while, and I can't wait to have that opportunity. We're going to take the time to rank all of our favorite teams. Rob, the Cowboys, the Steelers, of course, myself, and Bub's going to rank his Bengals here in just a little bit. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. But I get that you're worked up. David Tepper took over in 2018. He's virtually done nothing with the team other than run it into the ground. And now he's asking people who are fans, and probably not very big fans of him, I'd have to guess.
No, not at all.
He's asking them for money, a pretty significant amount, $650 million. And America's in a really weird time right now, guys. I don't know if you know this, where American taxpayers don't really like people with a lot of money that aren't willing to spend.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think
that's where it's at.
So that's where it is, Bub.
Oh, it's
especially
like
for something that doesn't help them or do anything for them. Or I mean, I understand overall having a nicer facility might bring someone from out of state. That
you might get that
more
Taylor
likely,
Swift concert.
You might get something like that helps the community. However,
I don't know. Yeah, it brings money to the community.
Right,
Whether
right.
not
Maybe
that
a Brittany
money
Mahomes
to
or somebody that's a good person.
Like I said, Taylor Swift. I mean, she's all over the NFL anyways. Might as well try to get her in there. You might get Kelsey along too.
Hey.
Then you have a franchise player.
I'll tell you what. You brought up Taylor Swift. It's worth noting Bank of America Stadium is also the home of Charlotte FC and MLS soccer.
That's what I was
team.
reading.
And it hosts games and concerts. It's a pretty big venue. So Taylor Swift may be at Bank of
But I
America.
mean, every
Stadium.
state's got somewhere.
But
like
she's
that,
not
right?
coming there if they don't fix them bathrooms they got.
Right.
It ain't happening. I'm telling you, Bub. This might happen.
I mean,
I'm interested to see.
If
There's
the
going to be a vote.
taxpayers want to pay their money to do it. Good for them. They can.
There's
just
a vote
think that's
this month.
ridiculous.
They're voting on it this month, the 24th of this month. Charlotte is going to vote on this tax proposal or this proposal. I don't know. I'm really excited to see what happens. I'll definitely be staying tuned to see what happens in Charlotte.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a weird thing for taxpayer dollars to go to.
So it wouldn't have your vote.
It would not have my vote on this one.
All right.
If
Rob,
I was a voting man, which I'm not.
if you were a voting man,
I mean, I'll say yes, do it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the only reason I say that is because I don't live in Charlotte.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me.
Doesn't your family live around that area?
I've got some family down in that.
Yeah, so I mean, just forget about them, right?
I mean, it's not coming out of my pocket.
It's not.
It never would.
It's not.
You're right. And if it was in Ohio, I would say no.
Even the money he owes, it doesn't come out of his pocket.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, I don't look for this to pass. It could.
I mean, like I said,
Could.
it's the
Maybe they
democracy
value.
world.
They might value their city and the culture, and everything else over. I don't know.
There's really not like any good hope for sports in like North Carolina, is there?
There's Duke and the Tar. I mean, Cooper
Yeah,
Flag's
like-
going to Duke. That's pretty
But like as far as professional teams, let's be honest, they're just the Hornets are.
the Hornets aren't great.
Yeah, I mean they're just
The Hornets are not
talk about
great.
not relevant, right?
Very, very irrelevant. I did see a video of what looked to be LaMelo Ball on top of an apartment complex driving a go-kart.
Oh, okay. He got a cool new back tattoo over the off season, so hopefully he plays better with that.
Yeah,
it looks
It's
like
like
a 2K
renovating your
tattoo.
bathrooms.
Yeah, it's kind
Look good, play good, right?
Which is exactly what the Panthers are looking to do right now. It seems renovate the bathroom, since it seems. Hey, it's funny though. They're looking at it going, this stadium not great, kind of sucks. It's going to be easier to fix than our roster. Let's invest millions into this. And yeah, I don't know.
They might be up there with like the SCLSU Mud Dogs as far as like the professional sports world.
Do you think would you take the SCLSU Mud Dogs over the Carolina Panthers?
I mean, I take defense all day, and I can name you more players on the SCLSU Mud Dogs than I can the
Is
Carolina
there
Panthers right now.
Another NFL franchise that you would rather not be an owner of?
Than the Panthers right now?
Panthers.
That's a great question. I don't think so. I mean, the only other logical question is the Bears.
Yeah, but I mean, Panthers, they got some picks and stuff. Great picks coming up.
Do they?
They've been dog
I
water,
thought
right?
I thought they.
Well, I guess they did trade a
thought
lot
they
away
shipped
for
out
Bryce.
everything.
Yeah, they did give
Yeah.
away. Man, maybe they don't.
Yeah, they don't have anything. They're bad.
They're
Like they were what we thought the Jets were gonna be.
what the Browns used to be.
Yeah, or what the Browns used to be.
Yeah.
I'm like seriously,
Hey, we've seen how long it's taken for them to rebuild.
I
to what they
don't
are.
see where it's going to take them. I mean, you're talking about a 10-year turnaround on their franchise.
Well, you might.
And is it worth it for? I mean, for that owner to still be there for a 10-year turnaround? I don't know.
After
I mean,
every
his revenue is only going up as an owner, I would think. I mean, none of these franchises are going
losing,
down in revenue, right?
No,
The NFL
correct.
franchise, so he's only making money.
Yeah, which means any more reason to put the money in.
Right. Yeah.
You're the owner. Like,
yeah,
it's your business
I
at the end of the day.
I
Put
agree.
your own money in. Get investors, but don't ask the taxpayers. I think that's ridiculous.
I'm with you. Carolina Panthers have a lot that they're going to have to solve going into the 2024-25 season. Bub, you mentioned Taylor Swift too, as we're talking about this being a notable concert venue. If the NFL is taking into account that Taylor Swift is, her concerts and things like that, if that's going into scheduling,
Yeah. Which they admit that? Is that?
that came
I think
straight
that's
from
definitely public.
that came
Okay.
straight from the VP of broadcasting, Mike North's mouth. In a press conference.
Well, at least they value the integrity of the game more.
No,
than
they
Taylor
don't,
Swift
because
concerts.
of
I know.
the NFL rest days, and we're going to get to that here in just a moment as well. You're listening to the 740 Sports Show right here on Fox Sports 105.3 WYPC Jackson. We're going to take just a quick break, and we'll be right back.
By Sexton's Excavating. Visit them on the web at sextonsexcavating.com. Free estimates and BMP certified. Call 740-286-7641. For sale, Ducati Scrambler 62, $4,000. It's a 2006 with 30,000 miles, a 400cc engine. Desmo service and oil change done. Runs great. Stop by the corner of State Route 139 and 32 at 12444 State Route 139 in Jackson.
4 o'clock hour.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, smile big and bright.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me.
Because of you.
We are happy and we know it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please go to westrunners.org right away.
I'm just texting him back. I'm just
Water
posting a
bottle.
story. I'm just changing the song. I'm just...
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
I'm just saying.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Being an Army Ranger is a very fast-paced lifestyle. I was clearing a weapons cache in Haditha, Iraq, when the building collapsed on me, burying me alive. I spent 6 months in the hospital and a year of recovery. When I was separated from the military, I just felt like I was useless because I only had this one thing that I was supposed to do, and then that one thing was taken away from me. But then one day, I got a call from Wounded Warrior Project. They asked me to come to a workout, and I decided that I was going to get better, both physically and mentally. Now I'm a warrior leader. I create events and opportunities for other veterans locally. Wounded Warrior Project did a phenomenal job reminding me that my injuries aren't going to define who I am. And because of that, I can do anything that I want.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combatstigma.
The top 3 contributing circumstances in at-fault statewide fatal crashes from 2018 to 2022 were driving off the roadway, unsafe speed, and driving left of center. This is Trooper McCarty of the Ohio State Highway Patrol's Gal Police Post. These types of crashes are preventable by exercising safe and responsible driving habits, driving attentively, and obeying all traffic laws. Safety is a shared responsibility of everyone on our roadways, and all these factors are under our control. To report unsafe drivers, call pound 677.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Take a look at your local weather conditions brought to you today by Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks, where spring weather means hot deals at Carmen's. Check out this 2019 Chevy Malibu LT. It's loaded with low mileage and it's only $17,995 at Carmen in Jackson. We're expecting another day full of sunshine with near perfect conditions. Highs in the mid-70s all day. Tonight, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be down around 52. For your midweek Wednesdays, sunshine, a little bit warmer. Highs in the low 80s all day. Clear skies tomorrow night with overnight lows for your Wednesday, dropping down to around 56.
And we're back right here on 105.3 Fox Sports WYPC Jackson and the 740 Sports Show. And we are now, we're slipping into the NFL. We just got off of a fun discussion regarding the Carolina Panthers, Bub, and their stadium renovations. And I know that really got your gears grinding there, really got you going.
Like I said, just you got to prove it. If you're an owner, you got to prove it. You got to make the fans buy into what you're doing. Yeah. And I just don't think he's done anything to do that. So, I mean, good luck to them in the future and their upcoming season, but there's not much hope for me on that team.
No winning seasons, and you've given away every piece of talent you've had on the roster.
Exactly, and nothing to rebuild it on. So
good luck to you on your upcoming games, Mr. Coach Klein and the Carolina Panthers. We're now going to keep it moving here in the NFL. And speaking of things going on in the offseason, the NFL has introduced a number of different things. A number of different things that have kind of are going to play a part in the NFL season, right? Or could play a part in the NFL season in the future. The first one of which, the computerized line-to-gain system, which I found to be very interesting, considering, the computerized line-to-gain system is kind of something that no one's really, I don't think, advocated for. So that's one of the things that we thought was interesting. Basically, the idea is for the NFL to introduce technology that would be used in place of the first down chains to determine if a player reached the line-to-gain system. And Rob, I'm going to let you guys talk on this in just a minute here. It's kind of crazy, though. Well, I mean, this is technology that's being used in tennis, and now it's hard to think that the NFL may be, that chain gain may not exist, and there may just be a line. So, floor is yours.
My biggest thing, just thinking about it is the anticipation that you get whenever the chain gang runs out on the field to measure where the spot of the ball is. No matter what side you're on that's always a very focused point on that. So I don't know how they're going to be doing that, or if it'll be just like, yeah, you either got it or you didn't. You don't get that opportunity to see them stretch it out and hit the line to gain. So that definitely takes away from the game. I know what they're doing. They want to speed it up, obviously. I think the idea behind it, you're taking, 2-4 or less people off the field.
Right.
That always, for some reason, end up in a play or two every single game, getting someone hurt or this, that, or the other. And, it is humanized, so exactly how accurate are they? But so I see where they're gearing towards, but it does take away from the game in my eyes as well.
So was one of your points, and just let me clarify, that they could potentially get hurt by standing on the sidelines?
Well, I mean, I know, they know that.
You have 100 other people on the sidelines, and those aren't the two they're worried about getting hurt.
Yeah, it wasn't a big point. I'm just saying it's 2 less people on either side of the sidelines.
But to your point, I do like his point about, the anticipation of seeing if they got that measurement. Like, you remember seeing the referee pull the index card out.
It was a Cowboys game. Of course I see it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are some great moments.
It was a Cowboys game that happened in.
I think it was in our favor, so we enjoy the index card. So
are you a fan of it then? Would you be a fan of this?
Man, I'm literally sitting on the fence of it because I see it because of it speeding the game up.
No one cares how long a football game takes.
I don't think that's a problem with the NFL. Baseball, yes. When the pitcher holds the ball for 2 minutes and doesn't make a pitch, I'm annoyed. But football, they get 3 timeouts.
Let me give you another scenario. All the reviews, that's what slows down the game. All these reviews, all the other silly things, what slows down the NFL. I don't care. A measurement is an intense suspense.
Your commercial timeouts.
Yeah.
Don't take away from the integrity of the game just to fit, a minute worth of commercials in.
Right, exactly. So I'm with you.
I don't like it. I personally don't like it. I think one of the biggest things about football is that, individual mistakes is what kind of determines the game.
Yeah.
And even if that comes down to the refs, or even if it comes down to the chain gang not being completely perfect, we're all humans. I think that's the biggest thing about competition is kind of finding.
Let me give you a scenario. Okay? You got Michigan against South Carolina.
Oh, gosh. This just reminds me of Jadeveon Clowney immediately.
Well, and it should, because you know what happened before that play?
Yeah,
they brought the chains out.
Yep.
And Michigan was awarded a first down.
Yep, I remember that.
Next play, Jadeveon Clowney knocked a dude.
That's a really good moment. Okay.
But that is you mentioned the index cards, right? I see Steve Spurrier on the sidelines livid about that first down call when it very much looked like, right, human error. It looked like that wasn't a first down.
Right.
Remember this, right? I mean, it was a Citrus Bowl, I think, or the Orange Bowl or something. It's a Citrus Bowl. And very next play, boom. So now we've got a system where it's all visual and there's no, it doesn't sit, my brain doesn't. It doesn't work for me.
So now to the refs, they just get, from upstairs, hey, the ball's on the 47.
Correct.
And they go put it on the 47.
I would rather see there be human error and us fight about it on Monday.
I agree.
Than, I don't know, man. It looks rigged to me.
So I'm going to say you pulled me on the other side of the fence. I'm with it. Let's keep the chain gangs.
All right.
I mean, to your point, I can't recall a time that a chain gang has slowed the process of the game.
I mean, if
they're still set and ready in the 40 seconds they need to be.
Let's start treating the chain gang like pit stops. Those guys need to get their butts out there a little faster. If that's the case, right? I don't know. We don't need to rely on technology for everything. Not everything. Come on.
And if they are, should they be awarded, full-time positions as they're talking about refs and things like that being full-time? Should that be, included as well?
Yeah.
That way you have the same people doing it all the time. You get rapport with one, you know what I mean? That helps in any profession.
Yeah, the longer you're there, the more experience you get.
Do you know if NBA officials are full-time?
I believe every sport other than the NFL is
really
full-time.
Yeah, that's
a nice stat.
That's kind of what I figured.
I believe so. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, double check that, Rob, because you're never right the first time. But
no.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about for sure, and it's really nice to see. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
Dylan appearing with Bub's coffee. Bub comes in here. He's day one, starts barking orders.
did.
I
I
need
just
a
wanted a
coffee.
coffee.
I need a coffee.
He said, "You're part of the production team. Go get me some coffee."
Yeah, he started asking. Well, he asked the one young man. He asked our buddy Hayden here. How old are you, Hayden? He said 18, and he evidently wasn't old enough for Bubba to start barking orders at. So
Listen,
he went at Dylan.
I'm one of those people that I have to get a coffee in the morning, and I will complain to myself about how expensive a cup of coffee is at a gas station. But every morning I go to the same gas station, the filling station, I get that $2 cup of coffee, and it just makes my morning right. So
Definite no from Bub if he were voting on the $800 million stadium renovation. No chance, dog.
yeah, no, I can't.
It ain't happening.
It's
man.
tough to pay $2 a day for a cup of coffee.
Bub's not happy about his coffee. Well, rest assured, Bub.
He also squeaks when
I was going to ask him for $1. I had to run out of here last break and go brew some coffee, but keep your money, Bub. It's fine. I'd hate to ask you to make it worth my while over here, man. No, we need some coffee, man. We're pushing through. Of course, NFL offseason, we got a lot to talk about.
I would like to make one point. Just to clarify, this is only getting introduced for the preseason right now.
It isn't.
It isn't?
No, well, okay. Sorry. They're working on the technology.
But as of right now,
they actually introducing it?
It is only confirmed for the preseason right now.
Confirmed that they're working on it, or
no? I think they're going to use it. Like they're going to test it out during the preseason.
Okay, well I know it's been tested.
So
it was tested at Super Bowl 50.
I would say it's more of like a trial and error thing right now. Like just see how it goes. Like I mean, I'm sure they'll still have the chains still on the field as a backup, fail safe. But that was a really good point about it being rigged. I can't. That's a little conspiracy.
That's once it came into my head
because I like physical proof.
It's trending that way.
Yeah,
man.
I like physical proof of seeing the guys on the field.
Thank you. And notably, the tennis is evidently an area. It's called the Hawkeye technology, and it's been used in tennis for some time. It's what they use for to assist with replays. And I just, dude, I would rather have human error. I would rather have something as egregious as what happened between the Saints and Rams a few years back in the playoffs.
Steelers
the
and
pass
Patriots.
interference call. Okay, that was a touchdown. Jesse James got that ball across the goal line. It wasn't a
and Dez caught it too, right, Rob?
pass.
Always.
Yeah. I would rather have human error than
out of bounds.
feel like something is rigged. Go ahead, Rob.
So back to the chain gang and all that
Yes.
stuff. What I was thinking about, do you think they keep both of them? Do you think they just
I
continuously?
think initially you do.
Well, I'm saying that way for the people watching live or on TV
That's a
and
good
things
point.
like that, they can still get that suspenseful moment.
Well, the
of
people
when
in
chain gang
person,
runs
yeah,
out.
like you.
But in the end, there's someone behind the screen that knows exactly where the ball should be or something like that. So I don't know because it is entertainment.
So is it just aligning us for another replay review? Is that what you're asking?
Probably.
Which makes the game longer, you would say?
I think it's.
I've never complained about more football.
No, everybody loves free football.
There's always time to go to the fridge and get a snack.
Always.
Evidently. So
mirror him.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like anything, and it feels like everything's trending that way, where it feels a little wonky, right? Doesn't feel as like authentic. Doesn't feel like maybe. Okay, and we're seeing it happen. There's been MLB players, NBA players, NBA officials that no one's addressing, that are gambled, and that are doing this and are betting on their unders and things that are affecting outcomes of games. So it's just crazy to me that these degenerate gamblers in America continue to ruin everything.
Yeah.
And Rob, we're going to get to your segment here in just a little bit. But go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's not like the guy who just got banned. He got banned for
the NBA?
Gambling on himself.
Yeah, this is tough.
So he gambled on himself
on
his unders.
Yeah.
To try to recoup the money that he had lost gambling elsewhere because he only won 4% of his bets.
Bet on yourself, right? Lamar said, "Bet on myself."
So he hit the overs.
He never bet the overs.
Right. But what I'm saying, if he bet on the unders and only won 4% of the bets, he was hitting
those
the
are
overs.
Those are the only ones that
he was overs, and then he only hit the unders.
The biggest prop bet in those games was his unders.
Yeah.
From him betting, he was betting elsewhere, not just on his game, and losing money. The only 4% that he won was the games that he bet against himself.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
So he had to bet against himself to recuperate the losses.
He had to go throw the game to not that he was much of a part of.
Do you remember who it was?
Porter. Deontay Porter. Yeah, NBA. So that's happening, right? And we don't really want to. I don't want to continue to feel that way. I already watch things, and I'm already skeptical enough of everybody. Yeah. We all are, right? The NFL, and it is entertainment, and we like to be entertained, but we also want to know it's authentic and real.
Yeah.
And this just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit well with me, and it's something that I'm not looking forward to. But what Troy Vincent had to say, the NFL VP of operations, I think, it's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also a person, I don't really like change. Like, I've never been a fan of change, so I'm an old boomer in that aspect of it.
Still wishes he had those dollar
I got 3 shirts, different colors.
Yeah, man. What is it?
I said he's still wishing the cup of coffee was $1.
Still wishing, man.
A
quarter.
Oh, bud, yeah, absolutely. Back in the college
start
days.
brewing your own coffee, dude. It's not that deep.
I mean, I could. I just forget about it when I go places.
Think about. Well, you only need to remember when you go to the store. So yeah, the NFL computerized line to gain system. Not fans. Like I said, maybe we just love the change too much.
It's a thumbs down from me.
But not fans. That is a thumbs down from Bub. By the way, if you are watching the live stream, not to flip it too far back to baseball, you got an opportunity to win 4 Chillicothe Paints tickets against the Champion City Kings this Thursday, 7:05 start. Just comment 740 Paints on the feed here, and we're going to pick a winner here shortly. Keeping it NFL NFL rest days. This has been a pretty big topic. We're going to touch on this just a bit before we get to a quick break. And NFL rest days going to be interesting. Bub, I know that this is something that is presenting some pretty extreme advantages and disadvantages. The Ravens, the 49ers, everything in between. It's just getting crazy. Talk to me about NFL rest days here.
Yeah, so I mean, let's just start at the top. So this is kind of like distinguish who gets more rest days than others, starting at 0. So 0 would be even, and then obviously if you go into the negatives, you're getting less.
Yeah.
So the Ravens are getting 16 more games than the average team. 16 more rest days than the average team in the NFL. That's crazy to me. And then if you go to the polar opposite bottom and you go to the 49ers, they're getting 21 less rest days.
21 less. And this I kind of brought up to Rob, and it's hard to discuss, right? Without the graphics and the visuals, it is kind of tricky to see exactly what's going into this data. But I was bringing this up with Rob, and Rob didn't seem to be, I mean, Rob, of course, being a Cowboys fan in America, everything leans his way all the time. Rob didn't seem to be too upset about this list. Rob, I mean, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the rest days?
At the end of the day, you play ball to play ball.
You play ball to get kicked out of the first round of the playoffs after your best season in 20 years.
Something like that.
Oh.
But I do also see that, man, there are definitely benefits.
Over a month's difference.
Right, and that you're talking that's coming to this upcoming season, or is that last season?
That's this upcoming season.
Do you happen to have last season's by chance?
I don't.
No. I was just curious if it showed, the team that went to the Super Bowl or whatever might be.
So last season, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and they had a disadvantage of minus 13 rest days. So they had 13 less rest days than their opponents, and that was the 3rd worst in the NFL, and they did win the Super Bowl.
So maybe it doesn't. So it's just you show up, you play ball. It doesn't matter how many rest.
Well, in the playoff, once you get to the playoffs, I mean, anything's kind of possible at that point. I think it's getting to the playoffs. They were in a weak division.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a regular season statistic. I don't think it's anything to do with, it just throw it out. I mean, it's about getting to the playoffs, and anything's possible.
And I think you call the Chiefs an outlier too, right? Like Patty's a star. Like nobody has anybody on their team that's Patty Mahomes.
Do you think Taylor requested more rest days for 2024 for the Chiefs, or?
I don't know. I mean, what are they at right now? They're at 5. So I mean, they are significantly more now.
Got 18 more rest days than last year.
That's true.
And knowing that Taylor Swift's schedule was taken into account, that doesn't make me feel great either.
I think,
and these are only NFL problems. You don't hear about this crap in the NBA, the MLB. Like, these are truly NFL problems.
And it's all facts too. Letting outside influence.
And I'm not sure how much of this takes into account traveling, because I mean,
all of it does.
Think about your West Coast teams that do have to play a little later in the day too. So I mean, you've got to figure out how to get games on. I mean, it's a business. You want to make the most money.
Yeah.
I just think that it's just the biggest thing is that 37-day gap between the top and the bottom.
Right.
Like, I'm cool with the bell curve. It's just you can't have that big of a.
That's huge.
Yeah. So right now, this season, there's going to be 10 teams playing 3 games in a 10-day span. There will be 10 teams playing 3 games in a 10-day span this season.
That is awesome.
That's typically around.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is a lot of wear and tear on your body.
That's crazy to think about. That's absolutely crazy to think about. There will be 7 teams who play 4 games in 17 days this season. That's a game every 4 days.
Yeah. So I guess my thought is I'd rather play a game than play. I'm Iverson. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I'm saying I'm Iverson.
No, you said you're Iverson. I heard it. Rob is Iverson.
We're talking about practice.
You go to sleep after a round of 18.
We're talking about the game. That's what I'm saying. But it's the game. I ain't talking about practice. We're talking about the game. So I think most NFL players probably rather would play 4 games.
AI Rob, baby, in the building.
Same height. But.
AI building. He's 6'1".
Take away the physical aspect of it.
Definitely take away the physical aspect.
The preparation
of
it alone. I mean, you don't have a quick turner, or you don't have a long turnaround to prepare for your next opponent.
That's another part of it as well. Strategically, it's a problem, right? And then if you're only getting 4 rest days or 4 days off, where are you practicing in between games? Like if your game is 4 days.
The inflatable
before the next one
practice facility.
You just blow up the inflatable practice
facility. Cincinnati and see if they can send that inflatable.
Right? Yeah. You're just the New York Giants with a bright bingo colored bouncy house.
You know they're not going to use it for.
They ain't using it. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, NFL rest days. We don't really love what's going on with the rest days, but I feel like we've got a lot more to say about this, and we will. We'll take just a quick break here. You're listening to a 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports 105.3 WYPC Jackson.
Major brand just announced it's holding all advertisers are reconsidering their strategy and making a massive return to traditional media like radio.
As an advertiser, you have to trust your partners to protect your brand's truth. Radio advertising, trusted to deliver your brand's truth.
Radio.
It's on.
Put the power of local radio to work for your business. Contact your Total Media Sales Pro, Chris Henry, at 740-286-3023.
I noticed that my central vision started to blur.
Figures that are usually straight started to distort to become wavy.
What are these little dark spots with blurring that I'm seeing?
There's a blind spot like a blob over my vision now.
Is my vision lost forever? Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist in a timely manner have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Don't delay seeing a retina specialist. It's worth the visit to save your vision so you don't miss out on life's precious moments, like seeing your grandchild grow up, enjoying a sunset with that special someone, or reading a good book. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans, it's a story that rings true. We learn to endure the heat in silence. We apply what we learn to life, the bills, the job, the family, things we're expected to handle with ease. When life heats up around us, we just try to stay afloat. We let the water boil. Reaching out isn't easy, but you've never been interested in easy. You join because you are not afraid of hard work. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait until the water boils. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose AmeriCorps.
And we're back here on the 740 Sports Show. You're listening to Fox Sports 105.3 WYPC Jackson. And we're still talking NFL rest days. We haven't completely gotten away from this topic just yet. And NFL rest days are, well, they've been a hot button topic for NFL fans this offseason. And this research kind of came out of nowhere. I hadn't really heard about this data coming into this season. But it also, like we mentioned earlier, hasn't exactly been as one-sided, you know what I mean, is all over the place as it's been. And I think the travel with the NFL, getting into all these other countries now, I think that's playing a factor as well. And it's just throwing complete mayhem into the schedule, and it's now beginning to create some pretty extreme advantages and disadvantages we've discussed here. I know we got a lot more to talk about this. Rob, why don't you go ahead and start us off here?
The only thing I had that I was thinking about was I know it's a big deal in the NBA when players take days off during games. Does that correlate at all in the NBA?
So do rest days when players rest in the NBA? I mean, how do we feel about that versus NFL rest days and things like that? I mean, to me, it's a little bit different only because 82 games, that's a player taking the night before and 2 nights before into account. That's not the league saying you're going to, I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite the same to me. 82 games in a much less physical world is, I can get behind those guys taking a day off here and there. I don't love that. Don't get me wrong. You know, my favorite players are the Kobes of the world and the Ant-Mans of the world who tried to play as many games as they could.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't feel the same way about it as I feel about in the NFL. It just feels like it's
NBA is definitely a marathon.
Right.
The NFL is a sprint. I mean, your guess. I mean, you lose one game. Let's talk about college football. You lose one game in college football, you're done. NFL, I mean, you lose 5 games and you're on the borderline of making, 6 games, you're on the borderline of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, not now in college. With the expansion of the playoffs.
That is awesome. I mean, the expansion of the college football playoffs. That's
going to happen this year, and we're really excited to talk about that, too.
On top of college football coming out. So,
college football 25.
But no, back to the NBA. I mean, like you said, 82-game season, a lot more. I mean, it is a lot more toll on a specific part of your body, right? Like, I mean,
it's all about the
legs.
To me, the difference is the NBA is all about placing. It's almost like no one's arguing the 9th best team deserves a championship in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's all about placing, right? It's all about where are the best 8 teams, the most realistic shots going to have the best opportunity to fall. Whereas the NFL is, if you lose 2 games to the wrong team in the right division, you're in for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose 2 games to the wrong team in the AFC North.
Yeah.
Yeah, division games matter a lot in the NFL. I mean, you don't even know who's in a conference in the NBA.
No, the conference you do, divisions you don't.
Yeah, division.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's so
Eastern, Western.
Yeah, it's so like you couldn't point out the Pacific Division in basketball, probably.
And it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't do anything. Like, division actually has a good effect in the NFL as far as tiebreakers, and then how you get scheduled throughout the next season, how you place in your division. So that is a big factor. I don't think the NBA really does anything like that. It's just 4 against your conference and 2 against the other, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly. I don't necessarily feel. How do you feel about it? Let me ask you. I mean, what's your take on it?
Obviously, you know me in the NBA. I'm not.
Oh yeah, being AI and all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna dog on them for a minute. I'm all about play the game. Like, people paid money. I'm with Ant. I heard his clip there a few games back. Like, people paid their last dollars to come see you play.
Yeah.
Play the game. Take your practice off.
I took my kids to Cleveland. I can vouch for that.
Exactly.
Brother.
If you want to,
you would have been highly disappointed if
Melo didn't play, which he didn't.
We all take vacations.
Or if Donovan Mitchell didn't play, which he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, was it injuries or anything? I mean, like,
they were just hurt.
So I understand those. I understand.
How do you prove those? I mean, rest days.
No, I mean, in NBA, you just take a rest day.
Right.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's pretty much what
you had to clear it for some injury.
I think you might have to, but if LeBron sits out tonight, you're not saying nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Joel Embiid sits out tonight. Now, Greg, I know he's banged up this year, but he's another guy that has been notorious for taking days of rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it hasn't paid off yet.
I mean, we all take vacations at our jobs. I don't see what the difference is in the NBA. If I could tell the owner of the NBA of my team, hey, I want to set out these games this year, and then maybe there's a way you can correlate that to fans coming to games and everything.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's more night to night, week to week.
I know, but a little more heads up for those fans that do spend the money. That's like going to a concert and you don't hear.
They get paid by
the main guy.
Game, right?
Who's that?
NBA. They get paid because
there are a lot of many ways, dude.
I just didn't know, hey,
it's by game incentive based. Right. I mean, and then you got your sponsorship.
If they sit out, they still get paid for that game. Those are things I'd be curious about.
I mean, I'm sure they don't get that game as far as their.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that
game
that's
salary.
The hugest motivator to some of these guys, but nonetheless, to the ones that are box office. You know what I mean? The ones that I gotta pay money to see this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Evan Mobley's great. I don't know that Evan Mobley in Cleveland's drawing tickets right now the same way that you know Kyrie did when he was the sole guy there.
Right.
Asked me, you know,
Kevin Love. I mean,
Donovan Mitchell, same way.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's drawing tickets the same way that a Kyrie.
he's getting there though.
He is.
After
dude.
that
Donovan
playoff
Mitchell's
performance.
nice. I know he's doing. He just if he commits to Cleveland again, I mean he'll be beloved and he could be one of those long-term guys. But yeah, I don't know. In the NFL rest days too, the things I don't like is when a guy sits out in the NBA, it changes things. But it's an 82-game season. If these statistics are going to shift the outcomes of 37% of games this year will feature teams in which one team has a rest advantage over another.
Yeah,
like just 37%, almost half the games you can look at and go, well, they got a day or two more rest than this team. It just doesn't. Again,
it's not like high school football where
that's not the biggest. That's not the most
in the
damning
same area.
statistic about this. I'm not saying that it is, but you can take that. You can take that into account this year.
If you could keep track of that, because I know some degenerates that would like that.
How come you don't just want to keep track of it?
There are degenerate gamblers in this world.
I cannot believe it.
It's hard to believe, but there are some people that don't do anything but just think about degenerate gambling. Yeah. And it's crazy to me.
Like, those are the people that probably bet on, like tennis at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And then will tell his friends to do it.
Or someone that comes into work and is like, hey, what about cricket? Have you ever bet on cricket?
You ever thought about cricket?
You ever bet on cricket? You ever watch
Water
Korean,
polo?
You ever watch Korean baseball?
Japanese baseball.
Japanese baseball? How about that? There are people that really do that. Yeah. And those people... Well, they're kind of awesome.
They would love the stats that you just come up with.
Those would be
They would really appreciate any more stats you could throw their way.
Yeah, right. That might help them not be degenerate.
Hey, Rob, why are you putting the script in your pocket? Anyway, nonetheless, we're good there. Yeah, I don't know. NFL rest days, NBA rest days, a little bit of a difference there to me. I don't like it from a strategic standpoint. Give me the team. I want to see teams. I want to know that they can all prepare for each other the same way. Like I said, it's different. There's only so many of these games that come into a year.
So,
go ahead, Rob.
Do you think it would be beneficial to just go back to one game a week and not have like everybody has the same amount of time? Everyone plays on Sundays.
I guess
if you want my opinion, I'm not a fan of Thursday night games. I just don't.
Well, I mean, those come in
as a fan of football. I love watching Thursday games.
Yeah.
I love football being on Thursdays. Not as a fan, but as a player, I would hate it. I don't think it's a great idea. I think it's too short of a turnaround for players. Just, I mean, their health alone.
Yeah.
I think they should get their 6 to 7 days. You want to have a Monday night game? Cool.
Right.
That's the primetime game.
Yeah.
Give them 8 days to rest or whatever. Give them.
I'll take my Sundays, Mondays, and the Thanksgiving Thursdays. But and also, I don't want to pay $850 to watch every game this season or whatever it's going to cost.
The Thanksgiving Thursdays are a big point too. Yeah, and I think they're having Christmas games too.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm sure that anything that we can do, bro.
Well, around that same time, I think they run games on Saturdays as well.
Yeah,
it just really starts heating up around Thanksgiving.
It does.
What you mean?
And that's probably a lot of where.
Hey, you mentioned. Did you see the smile on his face when you said Thanksgiving?
I mean, we got to have a round 2.
Look at his eyes.
Plate last year. We got to have a round 2 plate next year. Bub's Thanksgiving plate.
Bub's Thanksgiving.
I'm already
plate.
prepping for that.
Dude, I haven't seen that much life in Bub's eyes.
We can do cookie plate first.
Ooh, the Christmas cookie plate this year. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, we do cookies.
Clearly.
Oh, I know you do cookies.
So, yeah, NFL rest days. I'm not as concerned about NBA, but NFL, I'm not thrilled about this. It just feels wonky to me. The Chiefs were an outlier. Feels a little wonky. I don't know.
I would like someone to be that is much more smart than me, which is most people.
So what do you need me to do?
Keep track of that. I would just like to see if it actually affects. Exactly. Yeah,
Too much effort.
I just want to see how it does actually affect teams.
Okay.
Is it that big of a difference, or are we?
Well, I'll keep this list around for you, Rob, and I'll start writing the records of each team down.
That sounds good.
No,
yeah.
I mean, seriously, that would be a good way to track it.
Give me the first 2-3 teams that get the most rest days off there, and we'll see what we think. What are they?
Okay.
What do we think they're going to be like here?
Like, you want it right now?
Yeah,
the Ravens?
Ravens, okay, they're probably.
That's the thing. I actually went through and highlighted all the potential playoff teams, I think. And when you really look at it,
you're talking about my notes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 teams that are minus that could potentially be playoff teams in my mind. Maybe 7 if you include Seattle.
Yeah.
And then
who's there?
You've got the Detroit Lions. They're at -1. The Bengals are at -2.
Yep.
Tampa Bay at -7. I feel like Tampa Bay that division's pretty bad. Yeah. Miami at -8. The Saints at -10. Again, same division.
Yeah.
And then the 49ers at -21. Seattle at -13, I think, could make it as well. That's just a weird team.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, if you go in the positive, Philly at +12, Packers at +8, Houston at +7, and then the Bills and Kansas City at +5. Like, obviously the Steelers, the Cowboys and Cleveland are +2, but at that point you're splitting hairs on rest.
Right. I do see that you have the Dallas Cowboys underlined. You think they're going to be a playoff team? I appreciate that, bub.
I said they have hope, but we can actually talk about that later, Rob. I mean, we got that coming up soon. I'll give you my analysis on the Cowboys.
We'll talk about that. We're going to rank our favorite
team.
We're going to rank our favorite teams, our favorite NFL teams, and where we think they'll finish here in just a moment. But another thing we talked about is travel, and notably in the NFL season, they're going to Brazil, which will be interesting.
Wait, that's like the new NFL game, or
the Eagles will be traveling to Brazil, and I think they'll be playing. It's another green team. It might be the Packers,
Jets.
Could be the Jets. I want to say it's the Packers. I think it's the Eagles and Packers, and bad scheduling on the NFL's part. The gang population in Brazil, the colors are green. Yeah, both rival gang colors are green. So we're sending 2 green teams to Brazil, and the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers, they will have to stay in a hotel with full security. When they travel, they will travel in armored vehicles.
Okay.
I gotta hear me out here. Maybe we just don't go to Brazil.
I just feel like, the risk is not worth the reward. But
Right.
I mean, if you're talking about growing the NFL like name as a whole, you could find something like better than that, right? Like,
I mean,
like more safe.
I would think.
I don't understand putting players at risk. Going
Next, we should try Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you might.
Yeah.
Didn't we try that once?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. See, at some point, and that's another thing, I like being able to wake up at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning and turn on football.
Yeah.
We've talked about this several
I
times.
forget every week.
I've got no complaints. I will sit and watch Jacksonville take on the Patriots in Germany. I don't care. I'll do it. I don't love it, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
This is getting out of hand, isn't it? Like, doesn't this feel a little weird?
Do you think they are sending? I mean, obviously the Eagles and Packers aren't bad teams, but do you think they send the bad teams like, it's not really that great? Maybe we ought to.
Like send the Panthers.
True.
Well, they're going to be playing in a new stadium. You know,
they're not going to have a.
They're not going to have. They're going to need a new stadium while it's getting renovated. This is the perfect chance.
And they're not green. Send them to Brazil. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of with you on this.
I'm not a fan of that. I think that's very risky. Again, if you have to send players in armored vehicles and everything, to me, that's not a great look at how you take care of player safety.
I mean,
we don't need to go into a war zone to play a football game. Like, if that's really what we're treating it like, it doesn't need to happen.
I'm not going to say they're in a war zone here, but they obviously.
That's good.
They,
I'm glad you didn't.
They get heckled and things like that whenever they just go into their own stadium in their hometown.
Yeah, fans will throw popcorn on you, spit on you.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think that's
that.
significantly different than the alternative outcomes that could potentially happen. And that's not saying it just could happen in Brazil. It could happen anywhere.
Right.
But I think sending them down there and increasing the risk of it is a little concerning.
Maybe they're thinking it's going to bring them together.
I mean, I get it.
Football brings everybody together.
100-yard field, 50 yards wide, but I mean,
yeah,
we got plenty of that here.
Yeah, Rob with the most beautiful quote of the day there. Let's hope it brings the folks.
I need to hear that quote again. What was that?
He said it, but let's hope it brings people together.
Football brings people together. Maybe it'll bring the gangs together.
Day of unity. Rob, have you ever been to Ohio State, Michigan? Does it feel like people are together?
You're seeing Gridiron Gang.
I'll tell you what. Before the game, no, but typically after the game, they're always usually, congratulating the next. I always see, other.
Rob's never been to the Ohio State Michigan game, evidently.
Yeah,
I left the shoe. It does not work that way. I promise you.
Yeah.
No, I've not been.
Left the shoe on that day. Shout out to my grandmother, man. She
high school sports, fans will. Say,
high school sports.
I understand, appreciate.
We'll be civil over high school.
Yeah.
But we're not being civil over our favorite college team, right?
Right.
No, that's
I watched Cincinnati Bengals fans. I sat at the top of now Paycor Stadium and watched.
I wasn't. Don't you point at me? You didn't invite me to that game.
Toss. It wasn't my invitation to give. Toss beer cans, beer or not bottles.
Rightfully so.
on Ben Roethlisberger as he was
Rightfully
being
so.
carted out before he came back and won that game against the Bengals. And it was a great victory. It was the Vontaze Burfict meltdown.
Oh, okay.
And then Jeremy Hill fumbled, and it was just a great night to be a Steeler.
Yeah, that was
I've never known any night to be a great night to be a Steeler, but to each is their own.
You don't never
How
a
is
great night to be a Cowboy.
How is
either.
Antonio Brown doing now? Like, what's he up to? Did he just file for bankruptcy?
No, I think he owns CT ESPN or something.
CT ESPN.
Yeah. He's got some great follow, great Twitter follow.
Is that really a thing? CT ESPN?
Yeah.
You've never heard of it?
I don't have any social media. You guys know me.
He says he, has his own connections to teams and can release information earlier and things like that.
But it's titled CT ESPN?
Yes.
That's correct.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe you should re-download Twitter, Bob.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Just so we know.
I can't get sucked back into that
Just
stuff.
so we know, the Steelers survived that, man, being a part of the roster. So shout out to that.
You survive Big Ben,
He's barely surviving now.
Well, that is what it is.
Speaking about that,
Not
though,
to be bankrupt.
Speak of CTE.
Go ahead.
Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Well,
I forgot about that.
What?
The Mike Tomlin situation that
Mike
we were
Tomlin.
talking about
Yeah,
earlier in
Mike
the day.
Tomlin.
But we'll get
Mike
to that
Tomlin.
later.
We'll touch on our boy Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's raking in big bucks this year. But yeah, we'll touch on that and your Super Bowl bound Steelers here in just a few moments. When we come back, we're going to be talking about where our favorite NFL teams fall and where our favorite NFL teams rank going into, next season, as how they're going to finish. And we're looking forward to that. You're listening to the 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports Radio 105.3 WYPC Jackson.
Ohio loves to gamble, but this is one bet you will never win. Ohio doesn't require gates and flashing lights at every crossing, so drivers are at risk. Statistics show that gates and lights together prevent more train car accidents than stop signs or crossbucks alone. Please approach all crossings with caution and report bad railroad crossings at angelsontrack.org. That's angelsontrack.org. Because bad crossings kill good drivers. Sponsored by Angels on Track, aired by OAB and this station.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. Many of these animals are rescued from desolate conditions. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years. They help ensure that pets have a safe, warm shelter during times of need, especially during natural disasters. But pets need forever homes too. Adopting a shelter pet enriches the lives of one's family and allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work, including their efforts to rescue animals in need, certify the humane treatment of farm animals, help ensure the safety of animals on the silver screen, and protect our planet's amazing endangered species at AmericanHumane.org.
While serving in Afghanistan, I was shot in the head by sniper fire. The fighting was so intense, the medevac chopper was barely able to land. I was given a 5% chance to live. I'm Adam Alexander, and I'm a veteran. Today, I visit classrooms and talk with kids about dealing with life's struggles. I tell them, with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
I know that some struggles are big and some are small, but they're all struggles, and you have to learn to get through them. With support from DAV, more veterans like me can live their best life. And as a new father, I have one more reason to keep on keeping on. My victory is being there for the next generation.
Adam Alexander, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Take a look at your local weather conditions, brought to you today by Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks, where spring weather means hot deals at Carmen's. Check out the 2019 Chevy Malibu LT. It's low mileage, it's only $17,995 at Carmen in Jackson. We're expecting another day full of sunshine with near perfect conditions, highs in the mid-70s all day. Tonight, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be down around 52. Through midweek Wednesday, sunshine, a little bit warmer, highs in the low 80s.
If I had water in my mouth, I would.
Clear skies tomorrow night. With overnight lows for your Wednesday.
I thought Rob was making
down to around 56.
and then he actually.
It's another
want to talk about it during this segment. Just
every game
crazy. It's just total passing yards in the air for last season.
Terrific competition, exciting.
Well, I mean, this is like this is not completed passes. Like this is just in air.
Fox Sports Radio.
Like the Bengals.
W287CZ 105.3 FM Jackson. Serving Jackson and Vinton counties.
And we're back here on the 740 Sports Show, Fox Sports Radio, 105.3 WYPC Jackson. It's Eric, it's Bubba, and it's Rob, and we're having a blast here, man. Talking about our favorite hot sports topics today, and we're just having a great time. We've had a great one so far. We've talked about the NBA Finals. We've had our Help Us Love Hockey segment. I do love hockey. I hope you guys get into it with me.
Listen, you guys got to watch Shoresy. I'm telling you, I'm going to sit you both down and watch Shoresy.
You need to watch the Stanley Cup Finals.
If you watch Shoresy with me, I will watch the Stanley Cup Finals. I will watch every game from here on out of the Stanley Cup Finals. If you sit down and watch,
you said it's 3 seasons long.
Well, no, it's only 2 right now. But the third one comes out later. It's only 4 episodes. They're 30-minute episodes.
Okay, I can give you that.
Yeah.
It's 2 games. I can give you that.
Yeah.
Just to close out our
I thought you were giving me
Yeah, bro, that was weird.
Dude, that's what he does that with his hand. Dude, he will not move his hand.
Rob takes his hand out. Well, hey, when he puts it over his heart,
he won't move.
It won't move. We have to reset Rob.
That's right.
Yeah. The heart. Go ahead.
To close out the hockey, I just wanted to let you guys know Game 3.
Oh, yeah.
Is Thursday at 8 p.m.
It took Rob an hour to look.
No, he actually told me to remind you that earlier.
Thursday at 8 p.m.
I waited till hockey came back up. I was surprised it did, but when it did, I figured
we're segueing all over the place today, and it's good.
We're all over the place today, but hey, that's what pilot episodes are for, right? And
absolutely.
We got Rob in the cockpit today, and he's joining us, man. This is a great time. Rob, we love you, brother. We're happy to have you.
I love it here.
NFL rest days was the last topic. We touched on the Carolina Panthers. We talked about the Celtics. We're going to keep it NFL related. But this is probably the topic I've looked forward to the most today. I've been really interested to get your guys' thoughts on this one. We're going to rank in order of 1, 2, and 3 where we think our favorite NFL teams will fall. And I'd like to go ahead and use just this moment before we're going to be doing this till about 5 o'clock, guys. Strap in. It's going to be a time. Before we get there, though, I'd like each of us to take just a quick moment. We're going to let folks know where we stand and why we stand there. Okay, so for instance, Bub, we grew up in literally the same house.
Yes, we did.
On 2 completely opposite sides of this thing somehow.
And if you want to tell the journey of how we got there, I'm more than open to telling it. Because I started off with a Vinny Testaverde Jets jersey.
If you want to start
I have no
Vinny
idea why my family thought that I was going to be a Jets fan and why they thought the quarterback of my dreams to have was Vinny Testaverde.
He's probably just the number one.
Is it because Fireman Ed also has a helmet?
All I know is that I do appreciate everything Mom and Dad got us over the years. They worked hard for it.
Dude, they did.
And looking back, that is a jersey I will forever remember.
Did you get that jersey the same year I got my Randy Moss jersey?
You got Randy Moss, who is arguably the best wide receiver. In my mind, he is the best wide receiver.
The greatest wide receiver ever to live.
And I got Vinny Testaverde, who threw just as many interceptions as he did touchdowns in his career.
Also, notably, not our teams.
Not
our teams today. I did like Randy Moss. I loved him coming out of Marshall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mom knew that. She got me a Randy Moss jersey. But not our teams today.
Mm-hmm.
Bub's a Bengals guy. I'm a Steelers guy. Starting from the roots, though, Bub.
Yeah, and then I think after I destroyed your Randy Moss jersey with the
Soiled
outsider story,
we'll get to that. We touch on that every Apple Festival year.
You got a new one after that, right? No, I think you got the Terrell Owens jersey after.
I got a new one that was a faded Randy Moss jersey.
It was like
you remember
too, right?
No, the stiff one's the one you pooped in.
That's the one I destroyed.
Yeah, that's the one you destroyed.
The good one.
Yeah.
You destroyed the good one.
Yeah.
The starter one was the good one. Starter had kick butt brands. Gonna have to figure out what we can say and not say. Anyway, starter crushed the game in the 90s. The next one was just some off-brand Randy Moss jersey that the neck was down to
You washed it twice and the numbers wasn't there anymore.
Not there anymore. It went from purple to lavender, like a nice soft lavender overnight. And
faded.
great. Hey, like you said, though, we loved it. We appreciated it. I rocked that jersey every time I needed to play in the backyard. No sweat. But Bub got my good one.
And then, like kind of just on our jersey adventure, I think the next one, you had a Terrell Owens jersey.
I did have.
And I started getting into my Bengals, Delta O'Neal, Odell Thurman, jerseys. Chad Johnson. I remember Carson Palmer, and then I remember getting the Pro Bowl jerseys when
Pro Bowl jerseys
a couple family friends went to Hawaii.
They did.
And for some reason, Eric was at the point I think where you think
it's the only thing the Cowboys did all offseason.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about how your teams rank.
Rob introduced himself as a Cowboys fan perfectly.
Yeah.
Just unrealistic.
Yeah.
And
Rob
just absurd.
Right out of the gate here.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm afraid we're going to hit this 5 o'clock hour and not have quite enough time to rank our teams. So we might come back from the 5 o'clock hour before we actually rank them. But let's look at where they finished last year first and how things shaped up for each of our teams last year and talk about it that way.
Yeah.
Rob, Cowboys finished the year at 12-5, made the playoffs. Unfortunately, kicked from the playoffs early, first round, a lot like my Steelers were at 10-7. And, of course, Bub, Cincinnati through the injuries, 9-8 on the year. Rob, talk to me about the Cowboys, where you felt that finish kind of puts your team going into this year.
Yeah, since 2016 when they drafted Dak and Zeke and things like that, well, we've always had high hopes.
I would have lost their hopes with Dak. Have you ever seen the video of him just getting beat up on like a spring vacation?
No, I haven't.
You need to find that. It's not him getting beat up. He doesn't get into an altercation.
Okay.
And that's when I didn't want him as my quarterback.
I got you. I think he does a phenomenal job. I think
he does. He actually has had a great last couple seasons.
Yeah, and they're paying him significantly well.
Yeah, and they should.
Well, or else you're going to be trying to draft QBs like Carolina Panthers.
Exactly. You don't want to get in that QB carousel. You do not want that.
You don't. They lucked out, and I think they got him in the 4th round, I think.
Yeah, no, they got a great deal on him, so they had a cheap quarterback for a lot of years.
And Jerry doesn't like paying people, so that's
no
very
owner does
true as well. Which is interesting with CD.
Yeah, that's
coming up.
Right.
Very interesting.
Which is a very good part of our team. I must say.
But
being 12-5 last year, I think that was a good finish. Obviously, not the greatest run in the playoffs, but I think we had some injuries here and there, as well as every other team does. But,
yeah. I just think they just had a bad game. Like that. Look at what it was. They just had a bad game. It was not their day.
It's one of those things that it happens.
They were not that bad. They were not that team to lose like that.
No, it doesn't matter how much you hate the Cowboys. I feel like they should have probably made it a little bit further this year. Now, as going into this year, hopes are just as high as last year, and as they always will be. Just you're a Bengals fan. They sucked for a really long time, but you had high hopes every single year, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was talking about that playoff game he went to. I was at home watching it, and I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then I was heartbroken when they lost that Super Bowl against the Rams, and I was even more heartbroken when Joseph Asai decided he wanted to hit Patty out of bounds in the AFC Championship, but I digress.
But yeah, I'm happy where they finished last year. I think going forward this year,
Are you optimistic?
I see a similar record. I see
Step forward.
Yeah, I see 12-5, 12-4.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're not doing that yet. We're not doing that yet.
Rob.
We're just talking about last season.
You put the cat back in that bag.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Pause it.
Whip that information out with us. You might hit somebody with it.
Yeah. So, anyways,
back to Rob being a delusional Cowboys fan.
They did great last season. If I'm looking at it correct, 12-5. Steelers at 10-7, they won more games there. Bengals at 9-8, they won more games. So yeah, I think they did a great job last year.
Yeah, an injured Bengals bunch and a Steelers team that rotated quarterbacks all year. Yeah, right. Great job, Rob.
They're going to rotate him this year.
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say nothing changes with him there.
You'll see 9-time Pro Bowler Russ coming to the helm.
Let's just let Fields cook.
The biggest thing that Pittsburgh did this offseason was obviously address the glaring quarterback issue. They did that with Russell Wilson, and then personally, I think the reinforcement and maybe a little bit of an installment and learning curve with Justin Fields. I look for Wilson to start the year. I don't think Fields does. 9-time Pro Bowler. You let him cook. You let him settle. It's his job to lose early on. And then you see what Justin Fields can do. I do think there's enough around Russell Wilson to compete. I like where Pittsburgh's looking to be going into this offseason.
Yeah, they, adding Justin Fields, I think that was definitely a great add for them, especially as well as they draft at wide receiver.
For the deal they got, too.
Yeah, I feel their future is between him and, because like I said, they do draft great, not mentally, but physically, they're all really good wide receivers. But at least for their first 2 years, they're always good for at least 2 years. But I think that'll definitely help Pittsburgh for sure.
I think that Pittsburgh did have a pretty good draft. I'm pretty optimistic going into the year. But finished 10-7 last year. Early exit to Buffalo. Was what it was. Saw that writing on the wall. Was happy for a playoff appearance at all, given the year that they had. And just that's crazy to me. And I'm happy. We're going to talk about it. That Mike Tomlin got the extension that man deserved, because after people can say what they want about Mike Tomlin. That man name me somebody else that did more with less talent that got to the Super Bowl. You could maybe say the Browns, maybe. But more with less talent that make it to the playoffs, not the Super Bowl. Sorry, make it to the playoffs last year.
I was going to say, we were saying Browns and Super Bowl. I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Might be able to say Browns, but that was more roster than coaching. I look at what Pittsburgh did as more coaching than roster. The Browns rotated quarterbacks at a similar year, but I look at what Pittsburgh did Pittsburgh had to do.
Pittsburgh got hard carried by their defense.
I could think of one, and I think it's more of just the opponent they were playing. So, I'm just thinking of the discrepancy, the Giants against the Patriots. I mean, think of the discrepancies there. Just whenever you were talking about, who's done more with, less talent or whatever, won a Super Bowl. I'm not more so saying that Giants had more or less talent than the Steelers. I'm just saying the gap, the team they were playing, I thought at the time, 16-0 Patriots.
Okay,
we're talking 07.
Okay, we're talking 20 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You had me so bumfuzzled, dude, when talking about that. Okay. I'm with you.
He just used the word bumfuzzled.
Yeah, that was
I was bub-fuzzled. Yeah, I was like, what is he talking about last year?
I was 07.
Yeah. Quick trip down memory lane, bro. I don't even remember. Wow. 07. What a time. I get where you're going with that. Yeah, the gap between those two teams.
Yeah, there's the expectancies.
For them to get it done. Yes, yes. I was just referring to last season, like a team that made more happen with more going on and less on their roster. Pittsburgh.
Cincinnati, maybe. And that's because they finished 9-8. I was impressed with Cincy.
It was a good finish, but they dropped to some teams. They dropped to Minnesota late. I didn't think that was a win. I thought that was one that should have gone Cincinnati's way. Minnesota to a backup quarterback.
I mean, Cincinnati's got a backup quarterback.
Yeah, but it was Jake Browning, and he was playing out of his mind at the time.
Yeah, but it's still Jake Browning, and nobody knows what Jake Browning
Josh
is.
Dobbs there in Minnesota?
Josh Dobbs was playing good.
It was
Mullins.
Nick Mullins.
It was Nick Mullins, yeah, because Dobbs got hurt. Dobbs was playing perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, they just fell apart.
Yeah, and I think
part of that game.
Yeah.
Cincinnati just fell apart. But what I'm saying, though, it's not nothing about Cincinnati. It's just I thought that Pittsburgh did their thing.
I think coaching was not the reason Cincinnati succeeded as well.
That's the other thing, too. I thought Mike Tomlin, coaching-wise, did a great job. And worth another 3 years. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. I know he's only got one in the 17 years he's been there, but he's also got good leadership as well.
Here's to hoping one for the 20.
Never
take one. You would absolutely take one for 20.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hope he doesn't win one in 3 years.
Okay, there you go. All right. I appreciate what you're saying. Bub, anything else on this topic?
I didn't even get to really talk about my Bengals.
Talk about your Bengals.
So let's talk about their last season. Obviously, Burrow goes down with the hand injury.
That's all for the Bengals.
Over there, yeah. But I think for them to fight through the season, finish 9-8, get some players some time, like I don't know, Yoshi, the back or the kind of rookie wide receiver. Well, not rookie last year, but the year before. He kind of got his touches and everything, which he's not going to get a whole bunch of looks next year. But you got to find somebody to replace T when he goes, because I think he's going to be gone. Obviously, you lost Boyd after the season.
Tough one.
So you lost Mixon, but you do replace him with was it James Cook? Not James Cook. Running back for the Rams, Cam Akers, right? Cam Akers. So yeah. I think they've got they got Gesicki as well, so they have rebuilt a little bit. The draft was more so of just depth for the interior defensive line, as well as getting a nice DB, I believe.
Yeah.
So overall, I think the Bengals obviously are going to be better than what they were last year. You get Burrow back; his hand looks good in practice and everything. I have seen a few clips.
I've seen some photos.
I expect him to be 100%. And when I do, rank the teams going into the season, I am expecting everybody to have 100% roster. So
yeah, I mean,
just going into that.
Yeah. Assuming everyone's at full strength. Yeah.
Yeah, last year, once you lose Burrow, you're going to be out for this. You're going to be hurting. So
well, he's more than your quarterback. He's your guy.
He's your city.
He's everything.
Him and Ellie are your city.
He's your city. Yeah, he did notably send a jersey to Ellie not too long ago,
which was a cool picture.
Yeah, it said, what did the jersey say? What did the signature say? Something along the lines of "Keep turning up for the city."
Yeah, keep rocking the city or something like that.
For our city or something like that. So you got Cincinnati.
We
got to keep those two men in the 5-1-3.
Yeah.
That cannot change.
No, they are awesome.
Cannot change. The 9 and the 44 have to stay in Cincinnati. And then maybe I'll start watching some of what's going on over there. I watch a lot of Reds games, but I don't watch any Bengals really.
Yeah,
unless they're playing division opponent or something.
I'll watch any football.
That's true. I guess I kind of.
I'll have 8 screens on.
8 screens
and 8 bags of chips.
Bub looks like a security officer.
Yeah,
I'm just watching football all day.
Half of $680 to do it for the year.
What a time, man!
It's only like $250.
That ain't bad.
No, and I get every game I want.
Hey, there you go.
You buy stuff that you probably shouldn't, right?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally, and that's going to bring us to the 5 o'clock hour. You're listening to 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports Radio, 105.3 WYPC Jackson. We got news at the end of this hour. Is that what it is? News at 5 o'clock.
I had that problem in college.
Are we just coming back after a 30-second song here? It looks like we don't have any commercials or anything lined up. It looks like just Fox on YPC. I don't know what GPI Fox is. Let's see what happens after this. It says happy, do you know it?
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, smile big and bright.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me.
Because of you.
We are happy and we know it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please, go to loveshriners.org right away.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that split-second moment in time, her life changes forever. The toll of breast cancer is great. The need to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. And that's why when others look away, Susan G. Komen leans in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime. Fighting breast cancer takes funding for research to discover the next new treatment, providing access to quality and affordable health care, and people willing to take action by raising funds and raising their voice to advocate for others. United by hope, we can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Take a look at your local weather conditions brought to you today by Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks, where spring weather means hot deals at Carmen's. Check out the 2019 Chevy Malibu LT. It's loaded with low mileage, and it's only $17,995 at Carmen in Jackson. We're expecting another day full of sunshine with near-perfect conditions, highs in the mid-70s all day. Tonight, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be down around 52. For your midweek Wednesday, sunshine, a little bit warmer, highs in the low 80s all day. Clear skies tomorrow night with overnight lows for your Wednesday, dropping down to around 56.
Here on Fox Sports 105.3 WYPC Jackson, it's a 7-4 sports show. It's Eric, it's Bub, and it is Rob here, and we're having a pretty good time here. We're talking about some of our favorite hot sports topics today, and right now, the NFL season about to begin. It is summertime. We're loving it, and, we're ranking our favorite NFL teams, so we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. A little bit of background about our favorite NFL teams a moment ago, and let's just go ahead and see what happens here. So who wants to go ahead and start?
I'll start us off.
Start us off here. Go ahead and let us know how the Bengals are going to do, and then our teams as well.
So I've got Cincy finishing the season at 11-6. They open up with New England, and I think they're going to be at home. I think it's going to be an ugly opener. The Bengals have never really started the season well.
11-6, 2 wins better than last year.
Yeah,
Rob.
2 wins better. I mean, if you don't think Adam Burrow to your team makes you 2 wins better, I don't see what you're thinking there.
You're saying that Burrow only makes your team 2.
Well, no,
I think part of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he played through most of it, or not most of it, but let's call it half, just to. Yeah. So I think they start with an ugly win just because they aren't the best of starters, but then they got to go to Kansas City week 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, I don't like that. I don't like the setup for that. I think Kansas City will win that game. And then they got Washington. I think that's an obvious win for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Carolina, I literally put a note that says not relevant, and this was 2 weeks ago before you told me the news about their owner trying to take taxpayers' dollars.
It's fair.
They do have Baltimore right after that, but they get them at home. But I still think Baltimore takes that one. And my note is no more hip drop tackling.
No more hip drop tackling for Baltimore.
Yeah, you cannot tackle Mark Andrew and Lamar low. So it's gonna be a tough one to figure out for them. Then they got the Giants at Giants. I'm gonna take Cincinnati. I think they're just the better team.
Yeah.
The Giants at home doesn't really scare me at all. It doesn't seem like they have a crazy home stadium right now.
Yeah.
I think they dropped to Cleveland at home.
Okay.
Well, I think Cleveland at home or Cleveland at Cleveland. So they just need to prove to me that they can beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because they're just, I mean, that's the
seems like the team
that's like Ohio State whenever they were playing Clemson for the longest time. They just couldn't beat them, and finally they did.
So
yeah. So then you take them down. I think they do beat Philadelphia at Cincinnati. I think that is a win. They step up. You were talking.
I think I had that as a win for Cincinnati.
Burrow in big games. Yeah. I mean, I think they've done well against cross conference people.
On Monday night, it's going down. Baby.
In 2023, they beat San Francisco 31-17, pretty convincingly. So I'm pretty confident in the Bengals performing well and beating cross conference teams.
Yeah.
I think they take care of the Rams. I do think Baltimore gets the sweep on them this year.
Okay.
I think
they always drop 2 to somebody in the division.
Yeah, and Lamar. I think Lamar is just
too
complex to to figure out for that team.
He's a tough matchup for them. They've gotten the best of Lamar.
And you got the
matchup for anybody.
And I think the second time they play is when you'll start seeing maybe Derrick Henry perform better against Cincinnati, because he really hasn't had success against Cincinnati. But that was when they had Reeder and B.J. Hill. Now they're figuring out how to replace those guys, and it's going to be tough. So I think Derrick Henry could start shining against the Bengals.
Well, they also have to worry about Lamar too. They never had to worry about a QB running.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've had to worry about a QB running for, 3 or 4 seasons now, 5 seasons, however long.
No. I'm talking about with Derrick Henry. Like, no one's ever had to.
Derrick Henry's never been a 1-2 punch with a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. Yeah, you're right.
That could add its own.
Yeah, it's going to add its own twist. I mean, they're going to be a step behind.
Sure.
And now with Derrick Henry, they're a step behind.
One guy out of the box and having to spy.
You've just really got to rely on your defensive line to step up against Derrick Henry. So let's get back to it. Against the Chargers, Herbert's got May receivers, new coach. I think since he takes them.
Yeah.
I mean, Herbert is good. It's just
they're kind of a dumpster fire.
Like they got rid of Keenan Allen.
That's one of those Carolina Panthers bunch teams where like they've got.
But you have hope with the quarterback.
You always have hope with the quarterback, but after him, it's pretty rocky.
Yeah, you got rid of Eckler. You got rid of Keenan Allen. Like
everybody out.
You're a shell of what you were last season, so that is tough.
Yeah, and your last season wasn't a great show.
No, it wasn't. You lost everything. So I don't see how they really perform. I think that conference just got a lot weaker too. Whenever you talk about the Chiefs, is getting a little easier ride to the playoffs.
Yep.
Pitt at Cincy, and I think Cincy wins that one. It is at Cincy. Cincy's coming off a bye. So I think they do have an extra week to prepare for him. I think they take that one. Cincinnati at Dallas. I do take Dallas.
Those games are back to back. I love that too, man.
I did take Dallas in that one with the puke on it. I put puke.
Oh,
it makes me sick to my stomach to say, but I do think.
I'm glad we're in the same boat.
It's the edge rusher. It's the edge rusher of Micah. The Bengals. I need the Bengals to prove it, which I mean that will be a part in the season where they will have their offensive line at least solidified, hopefully. So maybe they do figure out. Yeah, so maybe they do figure it out by then, but I like it that it is at the end of the season rather than the beginning.
Game. Love that one.
Yeah, and this does prove my unbias. I did make a note of that as well.
You just did that for the listeners.
Yeah, that is for the listeners
I had
only.
Cincinnati winning that one on Monday Night Football.
Which I could see. I mean, I could see Cincinnati winning it, but it's also I think
as well.
at Dallas, I think Dallas wins it.
Yeah, I think I may not because I don't have that list in
Those
front
are
of
the
me.
ones they lose at home, prime time.
Unfortunately, that's not the list I had in front of me.
Yeah.
I had that list. I just don't have it in front of me.
Cincinnati at Tennessee. Cincinnati takes it. No more Derrick Henry. No more Tennessee offense in general.
Also, a team I think is headed down that same Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not hopeful in the Tennessee department. But Cleveland at Cincinnati, I did take Cincinnati on that one. I think that is the one where they turn it around. I don't think it's I did put the note, you got to prove it to me, but at Cincinnati, that's just I put the note hope.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that they finally turn it around.
I also have Cincinnati at 11-6.
Denver at Cincinnati.
Sorry,
there's two more.
Two more, I'm sorry.
Denver at Cincinnati, and then Cincinnati at Pitt. I think Pitt makes it.
That's right. That's the last game of the year for those two.
And I think the Bengals do make the playoffs, and I think again 3 AFC North teams do make the playoffs this year.
So as well, I've got Cincinnati at 11-6 as well. I think we're alike on a lot of those games. I'd have to go back and look at my list, but I think we're a lot alike. I thought there was a lot of Dallas is the one that's going to have a tough schedule, man. I thought Dallas has a little bit of a rocky schedule. I thought they were the hardest.
Well, that's the
They've got
thing. When you
toughest schedule
when you
of the
finish
three.
the best in your division, you get punished the next
Steelers
year.
having the toughest schedule of the three.
Brother,
I actually do as well.
I think that they've got
Their
the
latter half is.
I literally
wild.
put gauntlet.
It really
That's
is.
my
the,
note.
the last 6 games of the year are going to be tough. 7 games of the
8.
year. 8
half your
weeks.
season. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. The last 8 weeks are tough.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers will be well enough improved. And I'm going to take the Steelers winning the injury battle this year and being healthy at the end of the year. Okay?
However, what they did, they at least added people to back up, like Justin Fields to Russell Wilson.
Correct.
If they
And
do
that's
have
why
injury,
and that's why I think that they'll get it done. We're paying 3 quarterbacks a total of $6 million. There's some real talent on that roster, and they drafted well. So we got some guys that I'm hoping.
I feel like there's probably quarterbacks in the NFL making $6 million that don't deserve $6 million.
Yes, absolutely. There's no question about that part. Like Cincinnati, I looked at it as glass half full. I looked at it as, okay, I don't see Pittsburgh losing more games than they did a year ago with what they've done in the offseason. I mean, that was kind of the way I looked at it. And I went and I told Bubba, I looked at all of these teams and I thought, okay, I'm just going to give them a record in my head. And then I'm going to go down and look at their schedule. Like, I'm going to look at them and go, okay, where do I think they finish? When I went down and looked at it schedule game by game, I thought 12-5. They do lose 4 out of their last 7.
I think that's very.
I've got 12-5.
Optimistic.
I have Pittsburgh adding 2 wins to what they did a year ago. You're adding a 9-time Pro Bowler at quarterback. That means so much to that offense. You guys have no idea. You've got an outside weapon in George Pickens.
You lost Deontay.
Najee, that's okay. You lose Deontay, but we can pick that up. I'm not worried about Deontay's presence. The running game, I think, will be much improved. Arthur Smith, who I wasn't crazy about taking over this offense, I think, if nothing else, is versatile with his running backs. I will give Arthur Smith the benefit of the doubt. I will give the Pittsburgh Steelers the benefit of the doubt. I don't think they lose more games than they did last year. I think 12-5. I think Russell Wilson sneaks in a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a 9-time Pro Bowler. I think he's worth a victory, maybe 2. I got 12-5.
He showed none of that in Denver.
None of it, with a gigantic disconnect between his head coach and him. An enormous disconnect between him and his head coach. None of that's Russell Wilson's
No, but I
responsibility,
feel like he had more weapons in Denver than what he's got now, right?
You think so?
Jerry Jeudy.
Jeudy wasn't playing much, though.
Offensive line, a defense that can hold its own against anybody.
You had Jeudy, but both of them weren't playing much.
Williams at running back.
Javonte Williams.
A head coach that would just as soon see you 6 feet underground.
A head coach doesn't make you throw the ball 9 feet over your receiver's head.
But he makes you throw the ball.
Offensive scheme and timing does.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be quite the improvement you're anticipating. However, you are optimistic, and I just don't see 12 wins in their future because and the only reason I say that is because their last 7 are really, really tough games. Like
last 8.
They're really, really tough games.
They're getting Holcomb back. That defense will be a little bit improved. Joey Porter Jr. is an elite corner. I'm telling you guys, Joey Porter Jr. is an elite corner. You have no idea what that means to that defense.
That's tough.
So the Bengals can add 2 wins by getting simply their quarterback back and nobody bats an eye.
But that's a position. That's a huge position, and everybody and Burrow's proved.
We are getting a quarterback. Pittsburgh is literally just getting a quarterback.
Yeah, but they lost their best wide receiver on top of it, and it's not a quarterback that's super dominant in the NFL.
Deontay was their best. He was their most consistent wide receiver, but
Pickens hasn't proven anything.
He hasn't proven anything. He hasn't had a shot to prove anything. You got Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph throwing you the ball half the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would have waited a year before I shipped the Deontay. There was no reason to ship him.
So you think that Burrow over Jake Browning is 2 wins better, but not a 9-time Pro Bowler over Kenny Pickett?
Do you know
is 2 wins better?
Not the 9-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson. That's been.
I heard our good friend John McManus. He had this same attitude whenever Russell Wilson went to Denver.
I know.
He was all about. He's great.
Yeah, he loved Russ. He was super excited. He was
and
very
now
hopeful.
Sean,
take him to the
ask him how he feels about him now.
Sean Payton was the problem. I'll eat crow. Worst case scenario, I got Justin Fields waiting with the ball.
Well, I think that's your hope. I don't think it's Russell Wilson. I think Justin Fields is the hope for that team.
But nonetheless,
he has to be there.
Oh my gosh, you guys! Okay.
But
Rob's going to have a cow when I tell him his Cowboys are going 8-9. Go ahead.
I want to hear it. So I wanted to see where you're at.
I just told you. You can go ahead with your Cowboys.
Well, I had Pittsburgh actually finishing a win better, if that makes you feel better. But it's not because of Russell Wilson. Yes,
okay.
It is 11-6. I just think. Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Kansas City,
Philadelphia
and
completely
Cincinnati.
fell apart.
These are all still 8 guaranteed playoff games. Like these are all teams that you're going to meet in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
That just is what it is, and that's a gauntlet. But they got a great first half of the schedule.
Okay, and we're looking at Cleveland too. Like they had one good year. Let's look at Cleveland and go. They had one really good year.
Cowboys get to open up with them in Cleveland.
They do. That's going to be.
They had a good year last year, and they had a playoff run a couple years ago. They have been getting up there, and Miles Garrett's a stud. He's the best DN in the league.
Miles Garrett is the best.
Let's just say that. In the league. And their offense is getting. They got to get
Micah
Watson.
Is nothing in the run game that Miles Garrett is.
Yeah, if you think Micah is,
I didn't say anything.
No.
Stop looking at me like that right now.
Don't act like you guys. Micah is a great defensive end. He is the 3rd best defensive end in my opinion.
He is behind TJ.
And I think it's I think it's
Miles
Garrett, and then it's TJ and Micah. And TJ's just proven. TJ's proven more.
All right. Bub's got him 11-6.
Yeah,
Rob, go ahead with the Steelers.
With the Steelers,
yeah,
I had
think
them.
They will finish.
I had them out of our 3 teams. I had them ranked last. I figured it would go Cowboys. Obviously, a little biased, but I feel like
a lot.
I don't know. We open up with the Browns, which I'm going to take a W on that one. I feel like the Cowboys are going to beat the Browns.
I have that as an L at Cleveland.
At Cleveland, that's an L for me too.
I don't know, man. I don't know. They're going to split with the Eagles. They're probably going to split there. They're going to take one loss on that one.
I agree with that.
I'm giving them a loss in Dallas against the Texans.
Hey, I agree with that, CJ, all day.
I I
think
feel like
that happens.
they're kind of up and coming on that one as well.
They got a good offense with the addition of Joe Mixon just being a veteran running back, and then you
Yeah.
got Nico Collins and Take Delve coming back just to really help that offense thrive.
Against the Chargers, I think we win there.
Yes.
Saints win. Ravens, I feel like it's going to be pretty close. That's probably, I'm assuming, where you guys are having the loss at.
I took Dallas at home.
That game's at Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, I took that game at home.
I think I got Dallas winning that.
I was taking Dallas as well. At the Giants, Dallas. At the Steelers, Dallas.
I took Pittsburgh on that one.
In that one, too hard to play there for Dallas.
I think it'll be
I'm just kidding.
Dallas,
Go ahead.
No, I mean Pitt. They have in this area. There's a lot of Cowboys fans as well. So I feel like there's going to be just as many, maybe not just as many Cowboys fans as Steelers fans, but there's going to be a lot of.
I think the argument for Pitt winning is one, they're at home, and two, they don't really have a tough strength of schedule leading into that game.
That's a Sunday night football game.
Yeah, I mean you're playing the Chargers, Indianapolis, and then you got
It's so hard
Dallas,
to beat Pittsburgh at home on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
it is so hard to do it.
Still taking Dallas.
If it's a 1 o'clock game, I might take Dallas.
But Rob is taking Dallas on that one.
I
Stick
might
to your
take
guns.
Dallas, but that's the only reason for me in this one.
The Lions at the Cowboys.
I got the Lions.
I took the Lions.
I did too.
Man, they are up and coming. It's just, prime time 4 o'clock game at Dallas.
Since when did 4 o'clock become prime time?
I mean, they call it the game of the
Fox
week
game of the week,
whatever
brother.
it is. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Tune yourself.
And then at the 49ers.
See, this is what Cowboys fans do.
Yeah,
They're
I
trying to
know.
convince you that 4 o'clock is prime time. I'm napping during.
So you got
if
them.
If they're in Germany at 9 o'clock, that's the prime time game.
Oh, America's game live
got
from
the-
Auschwitz.
So you got them taking down the Lions, or you think the Lions are going to win?
That's close, but I got to stick with my guns and go with the Cowboys.
Okay, I took the Lions.
Yeah, I did.
The 49ers, for some reason, we cannot beat the 49ers, and they play them immediately after the Lions
So you're coming off a bye.
in the 49ers.
You're coming off a bye that
We're
week.
still at 49ers.
Mike McCarthy's teams
I
off
took
of
Dallas.
bye don't do great though.
I took Dallas beating the 49ers. It is at San Francisco.
I looked at the
but-
bye going into that, but I thought about Mike McCarthy's teams, and I don't feel great about his teams
That's
after
like,
bye
that's what,
week.
7 games into the season.
I just think it helps their
injury.
travel having the bye to get there.
Do you happen to know what his record after a bye week is? I'd love
Probably
to
good
know.
as Jason Kidd's game one.
Cowboys at Falcons. I'm going to take Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they've added Kirk Cousins. However, they've done a lot of other stuff.
You like that?
I do like
You like that?
However, he didn't like that
didn't like
whenever they
that.
drafted the QB.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he didn't like that at all.
Michael Penix, right?
yeah, Phoenix. So let's give this guy, I don't know how much, what was it? It was a lot of money. They gave Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they gave him a good contract. I don't remember it, but it was
a
like
pretty
90
hefty
mil.
contract.
3 years for 80 something.
Yeah,
90 something.
it was up there.
And then go to draft a quarterback. And then Eagles. I don't know which. This is at the Cowboys.
You said they were going to
They're
split,
going to
so
split.
you might as
either
well
one,
take
it's
the
one of
home
those.
Dallas.
Texans. We got that loss there against Washington. I'm going to take a W there.
Okay, but here's the thing: they always drop one of those divisional games to the Redskins or the Giants. Like I don't have them going 4-0.
So I have them losing at home to the Giants in November.
That's a tough one.
Is
Right at Thanksgiving or something where I was going to put
November
money on.
28th. So
Yeah, I was,
right
I was
there,
going to say something where I'm going to put money on the Cowboys. They're
Where they
going to
should
lose at
win.
home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I got the Bengals at Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys at the irrelevant Panthers.
Yeah.
And then Buccaneers.
I took the Buccaneers. I put weird win. I just
I
think the
probably
Buccaneers
could
could have a
be.
weird.
I think
they're
did
going
as
to be
well.
they're going to be in a close race for that divisional
That
spot.
division's going to come up at the end of
And
the
I think
year.
they're going to be competing.
Who's QB now? Is it Trask still? Or
Is it Kyle Trask?
I don't know if it's Trask or not, but
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
that receiving. What's the date on that game?
That's late. That's December 22nd. So we're late into the season.
So we're not talking sitting players yet. Then that's the week before that.
Right, and then Eagles at Eagles.
Yeah, you split it.
There, yep. And then I think they do sweep the Commanders. They just aren't anything. I think they split potentially with the Giants, and they definitely split with the Eagles.
Yeah.
So that's got me at probably a similar record, 12-5.
I was going to say I think you had them around 12-5.
Similar record as last. Okay.
Man, I went through all these, and I had every one of our teams at 11-6. I just I went through. I made notes, and I was just like. But this is genuinely how I feel like they're going to end up based
we
off
don't
their
go into
schedule.
these things trying to, like, I don't go into this.
Yeah, I don't go into
I
these
know
things
you guys
picking the
don't
Cowboys
either.
to win.
Right, and I know that's the fun of sitting here and doing this with you two is I know that you guys are going to think about it and start putting stuff at us and not come out. I really didn't mean to give the outcomes I did either. Like I said, when I sit and look at them and go game by game, though, your outcome is what it is. I just wrote WL all the way down.
And I mean, to make a point about Dallas, I mean, you'd be happy if they finished 12-5 again and won.
100%, dude.
And it's going to be hard for them to improve.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're at the top, you just got to stay at the top.
Yep.
So I mean, they didn't really make a bunch of great additions, but I mean, they didn't need to.
You're getting a healthy Diggs back,
And you got Trayvon Diggs coming back. You got CD, who was having a stellar year last year.
Yeah.
Dak obviously having MVP caliber season.
Is CD going into a contract year, or does he have one more year before?
I believe he's going into it.
Yeah, because he was in the same draft as Jefferson, and Jefferson just extended his this year for 4 more years. So, which the Cowboys should do as well.
They need to. Well, the problem is Jefferson's just
that's what's
reset
tough.
that
Yeah,
market,
he
and
just
that's-
set that market,
and
and
that's what's tough if you're a Cowboy because they notoriously don't pay.
No.
So they're going to have to figure something out because I don't think CD is going to take that.
Yeah, they don't pay 88s for sure.
Yeah,
that
Michael
got
Irvin.
Dez out of there, and obviously I don't know what Michael Irvin. I don't know if they paid him whenever he was real relevant. But
I don't know.
CD just seems
Dallas.
like CD seems like more of a sure bet, right? Like
yeah.
Like he's a great talent. He was
utility over
Yeah,
Well,
I loved him coming.
He's got
out
a lot
of
of things.
From Oklahoma.
He's got more receiving touchdowns than Jefferson since coming into the league. He's got more receptions than Jefferson since coming into the league, and he's used a lot more in their run game. So I think you got to pay CD. I don't care if Jefferson got paid or not. You got to do something.
Yeah, you got to get him up there.
You got to do something. Rob, where did these 3 teams finish? 1, 2, and 3. Go.
Cowboys, Bengals.
So, like I said,
All 11 and
no,
6.
I had them all 11 and 6. I do think the Eagles take the division with the addition of Saquon.
Okay.
So I do think the Giants finish second. I think they make the playoffs. There'll be a wild card team playing in that first round. I think
Cowboys taking second, right?
Taking second in the
second in
the
Giants.
division.
I'm sorry.
I might have, but the
Eagles. I thought.
No, the Eagles are
Eagles
taking
winning
first.
it,
Cowboys
and
taking second.
I just wasn't listening.
I think
I'm sorry.
I think Cincy actually grabs the 3rd spot.
Okay.
In the playoff or in the division, but they do grab a playoff spot.
Yeah.
I think the Baltimore Ravens take first. I think they probably go 13 and 4. The Steelers 11 and 6, but I think they have more division wins due to the Bengals getting swept by the Ravens. I think the
Steelers get in under the Bengals, but kind of.
No, the Steelers get in above the Bengals.
Above the Bengals, but with less wins.
No, they'll both be 11 and
Wins in the
6.
division.
They'll just have more wins
okay.
in the division
That's
to
right,
split the
that's right,
tiebreaker.
that's right. Sorry. Yeah. Well, obviously, I got Cowboys finishing 8 and 9. Sorry, Rob. It was what it was. Just again, I just had them losing some stupid games for some reason. I don't know why.
Surprised that
I'll get you the games.
That you said this was a tougher schedule than having to play Kansas City or.
I'm not saying the stretch of games. I'm saying that the schedule. They've got primetime games against really good teams, really good opponents. They're going to fall to a couple of wonky division games. It just happens with Dallas, even in their best years. I just had things shaping up weird. It wasn't like they were less talented.
Yeah.
Dallas is probably the one that I'm most likely to be wrong about, too, if you want me to talk to you about that.
No, I was just saying I was surprised that you said the Cowboys' schedule was more difficult than the Pitt's schedule. I feel completely opposite.
Picking games was more difficult for me, yes.
Okay.
It's picking games, not the schedule itself.
Gotcha.
I should have phrased it differently, sorry. Selecting the outcomes of Dallas's games, picking the outcomes were much more challenging than picking Pittsburgh's.
Yeah.
When I said the schedule was tougher, that's what I meant. I mean, it was tougher to pick those games.
Gotcha.
But nonetheless, it's going to be a fun football season.
It will be.
Yeah, it is.
I can't wait. You're listening to the 7-4 Sports Show live on Fox Sports 105.3 WYPC Jackson.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Native American children. Many live in poverty and face some very tough days. But they also have great days. And the days they love most, they happen here at St. Joseph's Indian School.
I love learning with my friends, playing music. Lunchtime! Math. And speaking of math, here are some awesome numbers.
96% of St. Joseph's Indian School students graduate high school. That's 10% higher than the national average. For almost 100 years, St. Joe's has been giving Native American children days they love and educating them for life. Learn more at stjo.org today.
And we're back. You're listening to the 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports 105.3 FM at WYPC Jackson. It's Eric, it's Bub, and it's Rob, and we are talking about some of our favorite NFL topics this offseason, and we've been having a pretty good time with that. We have survived the ranking our teams. No punches were thrown in the making of that segment, and that's awesome. We love to be able to get through a segment without fighting one another.
I picked everybody at 11-6. I was
saying Bub took the ultimate cop out. Everyone wins.
I wasn't so hard. I tried so hard to make one team.
As long as all the teams have fun, Bub's cool with it.
No, there are no participation trophies in the NFL.
No participation trophies, but you do have a chance to win these Chillicothe Saints tickets here. All you got to do if you're watching the Main Street TV live stream is comment 740 Paints, and we're going to be giving away 4 tickets to this Thursday's game against the Champion City Kings. 7:05 start to that game. Bub, we've been talking about some of our favorite football, and notably, there have been some big money moves in the offseason. And, well, let's just go ahead and get right down to it. You can talk the player contracts. I'm happy about one major contract for my guy, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin going to be at the helm for the Steelers for the next 3 years as he signed a 3-year extension. Bub, you asked me how much it was, and I said, coach's money don't count. It don't matter.
Right. It doesn't take into account on the cap space or anything like that, so I don't really take a worry to it. But a lot of people get hung up on the Mike Tomlin kind of being an average coach, like relative to his like finishing records of 9-8, you know.
Right.
But I mean,
someone just call that slightly above average coach.
Correct, but he also he has proven that he can win a Super Bowl.
True.
And with 11 playoff appearances in 17 years.
17 seasons.
I mean, well above average on making the playoffs.
Yeah.
I would
argue that, Rob.
I think looking,
Of course you would.
just looking at individual seasons and being like, oh, okay, you finished 9-8. It's like, okay, what did you do during that season that you finished 9-8 during the regular season?
You have to go through the AFC North gauntlet.
Exactly, and
every
it's been
single
every year
season.
Maybe for the last 8 years,
maybe.
because I mean the
I was
AFC
going to say 5.
It's
before
a
they
top
expanded
two
to the AFC
division.
North
It's a top
was getting
2 to
2
top
to
3
3
division.
team
Let me
ins.
say top 3 division every year.
Yep.
For the past 20 years.
And I will say, if the Giants or the Commanders could step up, that would make that.
Rob, I need you to know you have a microphone. You're welcome to talk anytime you want to
Yeah,
talk.
no,
Okay.
I just didn't want to rub Bub.
Yeah,
I
but
just
go
wanted him
ahead.
to go. No, I was just.
That's the big thing
that
holding
thought-
back the NFC East is the Commanders and the Giants just not having any quarterback identity. I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy at the Giants.
Right.
Malik
Giants
Neighbors
do.
isn't going to be enough to help him out there. And then obviously you've got Jaden Daniels coming in for the Commanders. Look, we got to see what he can do.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think that's what brings the NFC East back. The top 2 teams are really good in the NFC East. I mean, you got. Like I said, I think the Cowboys finished second in that, and that's good. It's very good because the Eagles adding
Went on such
Saquon
a
is scary.
Dominant run, yeah.
And adding 2 great corners in the draft, and Cooper DeJean and
What
the
about
guy
the
from Toledo.
Lions?
And they
Do the Lions not finish in the top 2?
The,
season,
the
they're
Lions
bringing
aren't in
everyone
that. They're not in that division.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said just the
Yeah,
NFC.
no, Lions.
I thought-
Lions are my. I mean, everybody wanted to call them a dark horse last year, and they're kind of still a dark horse if you
Really?
think about it,
because
because
they prove it twice.
exactly. And the 49ers are really good. They're going to reload. You got the Cowboys and the Eagles, so
yeah.
I think the Cowboys and the NFC East could be good. There, you just got 2 teams pulling them back.
Yeah. I was just going to say maybe up until 2020-ish, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
That's true. I'll say the AFC was kind of, but I mean,
The
still-
AFC what? The AFC North?
Yes.
Oh, so that's gone away since 2020. The AFC North is
You are
not.
crazy.
No, hold on.
No. Yeah, I was just making. You said since
yeah.
2020. So
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
just. I
There's no
couldn't
way,
give you a date.
Rob.
I'm just saying. I'm saying within. I would say
though.
5 years. You said 8. I'm gonna say around 5 years. They've been kind of relevant. Before that,
the year Cincinnati
Before that, they
drafted
still had the
Joe Burrow,
Steelers
and then they
going-
went to the Super Bowl. And last year had 3 playoff teams.
Rob, you are beating a
No,
dead
I'm-
horse.
I'm
on this one.
2022 and 2023.
I'm saying that those were good. Yes, I'm saying prior to those, when you said the last 20 seasons they've been a top 2 division, I think is outlandish because Cleveland was nothing. Bengals were nothing.
Bengals have been making playoff appearances throughout that time. They were making playoff appearances maybe one every 3 years.
I'll bet the
When they were
AFC
they were
North has
losing to the
more
Texans.
3-team playoff appearances in the past 20 years
Yeah.
than any team in football. or any
Who would be
division in
your
football.
best conference, or who would be your best division?
I'd have to look at it.
I mean, you don't have to. We're telling you what it is.
Yeah, you can just listen.
I'm listening.
I can't wait. I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm listening
Okay,
to so
hey,
many
Rob, do your home.
statistics.
You come back in here. Hey, you could take the mic home with you. Okay, hey, you come back in here with 2 divisions in the past 20 years better than the AFC North Thursday when we do this all over again, and we'll have a chat about it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about Rob's top 2 when we come back Thursday. We'll talk about that here this Thursday, Rob. That's going to be a blast.
Sure. Okay. We got homework.
I was like, yeah, homework. I did that in school.
Rob's like, I didn't even take notes for this today, dog.
Please get degrees.
There we go, baby. There
Yep.
we go.
Don't listen to that. That's a degeneracy coming out.
Oh, we love the degenerate word. We love that one. Okay, so that's what we've been talking about. We got so far away from Mike Tomlin, guys.
Yeah, we did.
So far away from Mike
Steelers
Tomlin.
should, yeah.
Well, they're not. And Mike Tomlin and his 7 division titles, 11 playoff appearances, and 1 Super Bowl championship, all better than the Cowboys in the last 17 years. We'll be back.
Will not disagree with that one. That one I will agree with.
Bub, back to the players and their contracts. What do you got for me?
So, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Justin Jefferson extending his contract for 4 years, $140 million, and that was just the latest one.
Largest non-QB deal, correct?
Yeah, everybody knew he was going to reset
yeah.
the market.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy. He's the face of Minnesota, especially once you get rid of Kirk Cousins. You don't have anybody there. I mean, you got J.J. McCarthy coming in.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody. I don't have much hope for him.
National
in
champion,
the NFL.
J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, national champion. So I mean, he has played in those big moments.
He
He
has.
does know the big stage. It's not that. It's just
He's a fighter too, man. I mean, you got to give him credit. He knows what it takes. I mean, he could win a game throwing for 86 yards.
you don't do that in the NFL.
It doesn't happen
Not
in
with the
league.
Vikings defense.
You know what? I'm surprised. I honestly, before the draft and everything, I was certain that once Harbaugh went out to the Chargers,
Yeah.
I thought they were definitely going to trade away Herbert,
Yeah.
and get some key pieces that they needed, replace Allen and things like that. And then I thought they were going to end up drafting.
We talked about
Thing
that.
is, you can't ship Herbert. He's on such a big contract. You're out so much money. He just he just signed whenever right before Burrow did.
I feel like there's 20 teams that would eat that.
Yeah,
to put him.
They don't eat it. That's on your cap.
But I'm saying they would take. You're telling me
the Panthers
would
money to get the talent.
The Panthers. I don't know if the Panthers would because they've got Bryce Young. I mean, is it lateral at that point? I mean, is Herbert going to be worth it? Is Herbert going to be worth the money?
I don't know.
Over Bryce Young, yes.
For the situation. Because they're not going to have any draft picks. They're going to be out all that cap that they would have to pay Herbert. Yeah. Well, not them. I mean, if the Panthers wanted
they're
that'd
out
be
money
awesome.
on top of no picks.
But why would the Chargers do that to get Bryce Young?
You're too businessy. I'm talking talent over talent.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, Herbert's way better than
Bubba's about practicality. Bubba's Jerry Maguire.
But why would the Chargers? Why would the Chargers ship Herbert, lose out on all that money just to get Bryce Young? Because that's who they would have to get back, and then there's no draft picks they have, and there's nobody on their team worth anything.
And the NFL is a great society.
It is.
So back to that. I mean, a bunch of wide receivers got contracts.
GM Bub shutting down Rob's offers. Love it.
Yeah, your trades are just not.
Yeah,
there
I'll tell you what.
Like with John McManus fantasy trades. Right
yeah,
there.
we're talking Madden, talking games. You can't trade with him or Brown. Because,
I have a rule where I can't trade with Brown.
Yeah, because they definitely always got to. It can never be even. It's always got to be one sided.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So getting back to the wide receiver contracts, because I mean, there's three more notable ones. A.J. Brown signed his 3-year, $96 million extension, so that's a good piece for the Eagles to lock up.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle at 3 years, $84.75. I thought that was a great contract for him.
Yeah.
You lock him up with Tyreek.
I thought he did great.
Yeah.
Negotiation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're the number 2.
Well, yeah, you're looking at Devontae, who's a similar number 2 as far as I mean, they were on the same team, and he's only getting 75.
Your agent did work.
Yeah,
that 84 point.
And it's not like Tyreek ain't getting paid more than AJ Brown,
right?
You know, so obviously, I think there's 3 or 4 great contracts for receivers. They're really resetting the market.
Yeah,
it's a quarterback wide receiver league. I think the Bengals proved that when they went with the Burrow to Jamar connection. I think that was kind of the turning point. Not that the Bengals were like the pioneers for that, but
yeah.
I think it was an obvious hit in our face. Like, okay, that's what they should have done, and that's what teams need to focus around is going quarterback, wide receiver. Right, you can get your left tackle or right tackle. Like Penei Sewell he's going to be a generational talent for the Lions, and it's not like it hasn't worked out for them, but they've made a lot more moves to have to work on that.
Well, and notably too, Rob, Cowboys are going to be dealing with the same thing. Now you're dealing with paying CD after JJ gets his contract, and that could create something really dicey in Dallas, like we talked about earlier, knowing that Dallas doesn't generally pay these guys.
Yeah, they're what can we do with the less?
I mean, it was a struggle to pay Dak.
Yeah,
and he had proven, and CD's proven. So I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and Dak showed that the money was worth it too.
Right.
So if there's ever a time for CD to show, well, maybe shelling out that money's worth it, I think Dak proved his value last year. Anyone that thinks otherwise, I told you Dak was one of my MVP runners. I think personally he made some pretty good statements to maybe make a shot at that award. I think that these are some pretty big some pretty big contracts, but I don't know that there's anything unwarranted in what we've talked about here. I mean, receivers kind of do what they do, and these are all prime receivers.
They are. Every single one of them, and 2 of them, unfortunately, is with a division rival, the
That's
Eagles.
tough.
But, so that's a lot of money shelling out there.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's another question. So Eagles being a division rival, you've seen what they're doing in the offseason, bringing in Saquon, signing receivers.
The DB,
they had
adding the 2 DBs, Cooper DeJean and the guy from Toledo.
Keeping Darius Slay.
Yeah, that locked them up. And don't they have their safety, C.J. Johnson Gardner? Is that who it is?
For some reason, I thought he was a Jet.
You might be. You might be right. With
he was
Spice.
a Jet with,
Not sure. But you've got the Eagles that are now, I mean, the defensive line is what it is at this point, too. I mean, you still got Jalen Carter.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, how do you feel about, because the Eagles fell off last year, dude.
Is Fletcher Cox still there?
What's that?
Is Fletcher Cox still there? As an interior D lineman?
I believe so.
I'm not sure.
If so,
but if so,
I think he may have retired.
I was going to say it was definitely getting towards the end of his career, but I think if he's still there, I mean that's still a scary defense.
The Kelsey retirement was big too, obviously.
That's a huge hit.
That's a huge hole in the Eagles' offense they'll have to get taken care of. So you're feeling pretty confident against this.
Yeah, I feel like a 50-50. I feel like we can match up with their offense pretty well with getting Diggs and stuff back. So
you just got to get ahead on them. You can't let them get ahead on the chains with the Eagles. You get them 2nd and 6. I mean, they're going to dice you up all game.
That was probably, as a Cowboy fan, my biggest thing is we were terrible in the red zone.
And it's frustrating.
Always been terrible in the red zone.
Well, and Dallas did what they did too in the midst of some pretty significant injuries. So, with Van Der Esch and everything else.
Trayvon was
Any
out.
status on Van Der Esch, by the way?
He was retired.
Is he
I was going to
retired
say
at this
he's
point? Okay.
Which I mean, good for him taking care of your health first. I mean, I think we all
Andrew Luck.
Yeah. Get paid and get out.
Get out.
Yeah. Living the dream.
Remember what you're doing, or you could just play for multiple teams, get as much money as you possibly can.
Yeah, Jameis Winston-ish.
And tweet out the most random things ever, like AB. So
the most absurd stuff you can come up with.
AB.
Yeah, that's really what it boils down to. Well, we're going to go ahead and move it forward in the segment. Again, you're listening to the 740 Sports Show on Fox Sports Radio, 105.3 FM, WYPC Jackson. But again, we're going to go ahead and move things forward. We've got a little bit of a fun segment for you. You heard the commercial, Ohio loves gambling. Well, we've got a fun segment called Rob's Degenerate Gambling segment. If I was a betting man.
Yeah.
So, Rob, notably, we would like to point out, we're not necessarily gamblers, boys. No. We like to play the odds. We like to look at the odds.
Yeah.
But
we like to give our ideas on it.
We like to talk about what we would do.
Yeah.
We like to talk about what we do on the side.
Yeah.
We're not suggesting this to be advice to anybody, but it's what we do.
Yeah, don't take our advice.
So if we were betting men,
like if I had
Rob,
$20,
if you were a betting man,
if I had $20 and I was a betting man,
what would you do with it?
I know that we haven't talked much on major leagues. We've discussed Ellie here.
I was hoping you'd bring up some Major League Baseball with us.
Yeah, that's honestly what this is going to be about.
I love
today, anyway. So, if I was a betting man today, I got a parlay. A parlay. If
How
I
many
was a betting
legs?
man. Three-leg parlay.
Now, let me ask you a question before we get too far into this. I got to know: is this an ain't no doubt?
This is a
lock of the day parlay.
This isn't. This is just if I was a betting man parlay. If you got a little $20 laying around,
okay.
I've got a plus 363 parlay. You put $20 on it, get you back 92.63. Okay. So if I had $20 laying around, if you was, this is what I would do. I got the Phillies. They're the number 1 in the NL East against the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Zach Wheeler on the mound. He's 7-3 with 91 strikeouts.
Yeah,
I've got them over top of the Red Sox right now.
Wow.
I'm taking the Pirates with Paul Skeens on the mound, 3-0.
Big Paul Skeens fan, aren't you?
Well, hey, you got to bet on until they lose. He's 3-0.
Yeah.
On the mound, he's got 38 Ks this year against the Cardinals. Is kind of mediocre.
Right.
And then for the last leg, I have the Dodgers at home. They are first in the NL West, and they got James Paxton at 5-1 on the mound. Again, a plus 363 parlay. 20 gets you 92. My ain't no doubt ain't no doubt.
No doubt about this one.
Are the Phillies with Zach Wheeler on the mound at 7-3. $20 would get you $32.90. They are a negative 155 favorite. That is my ain't no doubt.
Lock it in.
And the Phillies are playing phenomenal. They've won over 40 games already. The bats on balls, they are smoking it. I'm taking them today over the Red Sox.
Lock it in over the Boston Red Sox.
Game prepared.
Getting it done. Rob,
3 minutes before the show.
Coming with pitcher stats.
This was the only notes Rob did all week in preparation.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. This is me.
So you can go, hey, if we were betting men, right? If you had $20, we don't have $20.
No.
I mean, times is tough. It's 2024.
Times are tough, yeah.
If we did, though, that's what we would do with it.
That's what I would do with it. I personally, I would try to make $92. My luck, I won't, because that's just how degenerate I am.
That's okay. Yeah. That's the way that it goes. But hey, if you weren't degenerate and a degenerate gambler, you wouldn't be doing it anyway.
Correct. I would have statistics and things like that. So
yeah, and it's good to know that you're doing your research and you're doing your homework and you're not a degenerate.
Right. You got to do something.
Betting on Japanese, Korean baseball or tennis.
Wild.
Cricket.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. That would just be asinine. So
or hockey, because I know nothing about hockey.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Yeah, exactly. Hockey.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Stanley Cup Finals.
We'll have to think about
Maybe
it.
have to lock in one for Thursday.
I have to take a look at it and
Might
see
have
what
to
the
take
lines look like.
I have to take a look at it. We like the hockey.
That might get me into actually watching.
That might get
hockey.
you in. Help us love hockey. Put money on it. That'll
That's what
help
it
us.
sounds like, yeah. Or help me hate it, one of the two.
That's all you got to do. All right, that was Rob's degenerate gambling segment, and of course, Rob's ain't no doubt lock of the week, lock of the day, I should say.
Yeah,
lock
Phillies.
of the day. Go with them Phillies tonight. Roll with the Phillies tonight. It's going to be a time as they take on.
Can't wait till Thursday. You guys tell me how bad I did on this. So the Phillies are taking on the Red Sox.
Red Sox, sorry.
In Boston.
Yeah, in Boston. Oh, we love it. We love it. Roll with it. Roll with it. Rob knows what's up. If he was, well, if you were betting.
If I
you
was
were
betting, yeah.
You would know what's up. We're going to take just a quick break. You're listening to the 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports Radio, 105.3 WYPC Jackson.
Native American children live in poverty and face some very tough days. But they also have great days. They happen here at St. Joseph's Indian School.
I love learning with my friends, playing music.
Lunchtime!
For almost 100 years, St. Joe's has been giving Native American children days they love and educating them for life. Learn more at stjo.org today.
Want to get out of just about anything and look like an earth-saving hero? Just use the environment excuse. High school reunion? Ooh, sorry, can't. Planetary obligations. Unfortunate bridesmaid's dress. Unfortunately, you promised the climate you'd buy more vintage. Chauffeuring teens? Yeah, the earth really needs them to hoof it. That's right, the environment is always the best excuse. So go ahead, ask your bae to dim all the lights because carbon emissions. Tell your dad-botted dad to eat more plants, for the planet, obviously. Kindly tell the kids to stop asking for a new phone. I mean, e-waste, right? Find your out and opt in to cutting carbon. Just visit theenvironmentexcuse.org. A public service announcement brought to you by WildAid.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The top 3 contributing circumstances in at-fault statewide fatal crashes from 2019 through 2023 were driving off the roadway, unsafe speed, and driving left of center. This is Trooper McCarty of the Ohio State Highway Patrol's Gallup Police Post. These types of crashes are preventable by exercising safe and responsible driving habits, driving attentively, and obeying all traffic laws. Safety is a shared responsibility of everyone on our roadways, and all these factors are under your control as a driver. To report unsafe drivers, call pound 677.
Take a look at your local weather conditions brought to you today by Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks, where spring weather means hot deals at Carmen's. Check out the 2019 Chevy Malibu LT. It's loaded with low mileage and it's only $17,995 at Carmen's in Jackson. We're expecting another day full of sunshine with near perfect conditions, highs in the mid-70s all day. Tonight, partly cloudy. Overnight lows will be down around 52. Pre-midweek Wednesday, sunshine, a little bit warmer, highs in the low 80s all day. Clear skies tomorrow.
Fox Sports Radio 105.3 WYPC Jackson. It's a 740 Sports Show. It's Eric, it's Bub, and it's Rob. And we're wrapping it up here. The wrap-up presented by our friends at Hothead Burritos. Download the Hothead Burritos app and let those points start rolling in. 2 times the points every Tuesday, like today.
Like today.
Today?
2 times
We
Tuesday.
just go today?
Well, we could go today for sure, but we could also get 2 times the points.
I mean, we do have a free burrito to
We
claim.
do have a free burrito. We can claim that burrito, Bub. Rob, you don't, so you'll have to
didn't get involved
you
in
can
that
get 2
one.
times the points. So, hey, download the app. We're wrapping it up here. Thank you to our friends at Hotheads. Bub, we're wrapping it up. We love wrapping it up. It's what we do on the show because, well, we have to in the show. So we're going to wrap it up. We talked a little bit about if we were betting men, right?
Right.
If
yeah.
we were degenerate gamblers with, say, $20, what we might do with it.
Yeah.
Our friend over at UConn, Dan Hurley, he had an offer of way more than $20 million, Rob. You want to talk about $20, Rob?
Yeah, he had definitely way more than $20. $70 million that he turned down to be the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Crazy.
Very crazy, and it goes to show there's some coaches that just enjoy coaching college, and then there's some that say, I can't coach someone that's making more than me.
Well, I don't know how many would have been.
Right,
70 mil?
right.
I mean, no, seriously, that's a lot of money. He didn't say notably he wanted to three-peat.
Right.
And, you know, that's coveted in college basketball.
Yeah.
Like, if you could pull off a three-peat as a college basketball coach, wow. So I respect it. Not sure what that means for the Lakers. Not sure what that means is in store for the Lakers, but
fellow Dookie, you know, JJ
Yeah.
Redick, he might be the guy, huh?
JJ Redick.
Rob might be a Braun fan if that happens.
I
mean, his love for JJ Redick.
I'd be a Laker fan. I wouldn't be
which
a
you'd be
Braun
rooting for
fan.
Braun indirectly.
I would hope he would take all those games he sits out and sits out.
Okay, well,
Rob would go to the ones that he's sitting out.
Rob would definitely go to the ones he's sitting out.
Save
JJ,
money,
you
too.
look great.
Yeah, right.
This is as dumb as we get. So I think it's maybe JJ's to lose. I would be very intrigued if JJ Redick were coaching the Lakers. I just would. I could listen to him and LeBron James talk basketball all day long.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable.
Incredibly intelligent. So.
I mean, that could also cause a storm, too. 2 great minds coming together. I mean, as you've seen, like Phil and Kobe, they always clash, but I mean, they did manage to figure out how to get it through.
Yeah.
So, it's just, man, it would be tough coaching Braun. And, like, if you're...
I think it takes a special coach.
It's that's like having the job of president.
I think at the point no
The
one's
money ain't
coaching
worth it.
Braun.
Well, and
because
the other question is, will Bronny be there?
No.
Yeah, no. He won't get
Every
drafted.
scout in the NBA knows that he's not going to be there.
I mean, he showed up 3 inches shorter than what he was listed.
He's just he isn't.
He's not
good.
there.
Stock's only gone up this offseason into the draft.
I just don't. I don't.
I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think he's gonna.
All right.
That's who's your dad?
Yeah.
Like if you
wanna talk
if you
political.
put if you put any if you
Yeah.
put any name on him other than his own right now,
That's fair.
he is below mediocre.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a very no. I mean, that's a very
Can't
good
I
analysis.
can't argue with any of that.
No.
I can't argue with any of it at all. Bub, before we get out of here, do you have anything to wrap us up with today? You've usually got some sort of nonsense.
I know I didn't really come prepared with a fun fact for the day. My scientific facts are, starting to wear down a little bit, but I'll come prepared next time.
Okay.
But no, it's been great being on here, kind of for the first radio episode.
Yeah.
Feel like it's been a
Yeah,
blast
been
doing
great.
those with you too. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing me on here.
Yeah, man, we've had a ball, and we've only got way more of it to come. I mean, this is day one. We're going to do this again all on Thursday, so be sure to check this whole thing out again on Thursday as we stay in the swing of it here on the 740 Sports Show. We got together on Sunday, talked a little bit about some of these same things as well. So, I mean, we're day two out of the last three, and we're going to be 3 out of the last 6 here.
And we even left on our topic, one of the top topics on the day, the swimsuit edition.
One of the biggest topics. We will, guys. You have no idea how
We're gonna have to talk about.
We're
Brittany
going
Mahomes
to
at
get
some
to
point.
it.
I can't avoid it.
We are going to get to it. We're going to get to the swimsuit edition.
We avoided it for 3 hours, and we're just gonna have to talk about her, aren't we?
I can't wait. Listen, it's the 60th edition. They've got 52 incredible women in this swimsuit edition.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see the first 59.
And it's that's your. What'd you do through adolescence, dog?
East Bay.
East Bay was a great magazine.
East Bay Rob.
We don't need to talk about East Bay Rob.
Yeah, East Bay Rob. Okay, well, at our house, once a year, it just showed up in the mail. And I didn't know how it worked, but randomly it showed up in the mail. It did. Did it not?
Yeah.
It just showed up in the mail. And
I mean, it was always distinct as well.
You talk about your East Bay order showing up. Boy, hey, thank you for listening to the 740 Sports Show. We hope you've appreciated it. On behalf of Eric, Bubba, and Rob, we hope that you have a wonderful day. Make it your mission to make life better for every person you meet. That's going to do it for us on this edition of the 740 Sports Show live on Fox Sports Radio 105.3 WYPC Jackson.
Bye.